In the whole party, it seemed that only a group of young people were kept in the dark, and the middle-aged people knew it very well. The incident was caused by a group of old men. In Zhang Chen's small circle of 8 people, 5 people looked at brother and sister Yi Xing and Zhao Muyan. With such a wonderful expression on his face, he must know something about it. But Zhao Linger smiled so happily. Shouldn't it be a bad thing? Yi Xing was the first to react and complained in a low voice. The old man who is careless always comes up with weird ways. Zhao Muyan, on the other hand, was not so well-mannered. This old man, what do you mean by what you just said? He made a bet with brother Yi again? If he hadn't been my grandfather and been kind to me since childhood, I would be %*. Zhang Chen and others looked at each other in confusion. When they finished venting, Zhao Linger also suppressed her laughter. Yi Xing sighed helplessly. I know you are curious, so it's better for you, Mu Yan, to tell me what to add. Zhao Muyan first pointed to the 3 old men who were speaking. The one in the middle over there is Nangong Ru's grandfather, Mr. Nangong. On the left and right are me and Yi Xing's grandfather. The conversation between the 3 of them just now must have been about some kind of bet, involving me and Yi Xing. Whoever loses will be sad to go back. The sad thing he said means sad in the literal sense, and he will be taught a few lessons. Yi Xing added. In addition to the fact that Mr. Nangong is present, there should also be Nangong Ru. She will come over later. But the key is that they won't tell what bet they made. They just started on their own in a daze, and they say they're young at heart. Zhao Linger said mischievously. Hee, you are young at heart. How can you slander 3 grandfathers? Yi Xing and Zhao Muyan lamented endlessly and were not very happy. When Li Shang, Feng Jia, Zhou Yuan and Wang Kongqing heard that Nangong Ru was coming over, their eyes lit up. It's very difficult to see Nangong Ru in normal times, but this year is even weirder. I didn't even go to the club, and I haven't seen her in almost a year. It would be a great opportunity to wait, but Zhang Chen had a vague feeling about it. It's strange. That woman won't pester me anymore. She said she doesn't like him anymore. Li Shang immediately turned his head and looked. Brother Zhang, since you don't like her, then I'll let you bear it. Don't say anything later. He just remembered that Zhao Linger had mentioned before that Nangong Ru seemed to be very interested in Zhang Chen. When a woman is interested in a man, she will quickly become interested. A few casual words from the man can achieve the goal. Zhang Chen nodded indifferently and said, Okay, if Nangong Ru really comes, you can just go up and talk, and I will drink tea in the back. That night, the impression left in the hotel was not good. He would not wrong himself for a mere 100 billion. Why would he need to borrow a woman's hand when he could earn it himself? Wang Kongqing looked at Zhang Chen in surprise. Brother Li, why did you not let Brother Zhang speak just now? Could it be that he can take down Nangong Ru just by opening his mouth? Li Shang stepped forward to finish what happened before. As Zhao Linger is Nangong Ru's sister, the information must be correct. Wang Kongqing couldn't believe it. Brother Zhang is really amazing. No wonder he can achieve such an achievement by himself. Then you'd better not speak. Zhang Chen shrugged nonchalantly. Let you go. I just want to see how you rich young men pick up girls. While a few people were joking, a few more people walked into the party that was originally closed to outsiders. At the front is a girl. She is wearing a white dress, with wavy hair and skin like snow and waterfall. Under the sunlight, the face gives people the illusion of glowing, and is extremely beautiful. She is none other than Nangong Ru, whom Zhang Chen met at the Peninsula Hotel. After dressing up a little today, it was another scene. As she walked in, the young man's eyes followed hers. Nangong Ru had long been accustomed to such attention. She looked around and paused slightly at Zhang Chen's position. Finally, she walked towards her grandfather with a smile on her lips. He shouted from a distance. Grandpa, I haven't seen you for a few days. Ruer misses you. Do you miss Ruer? At this time, she didn't look like a naughty and willful young lady at all. She was just a little girl. Zhang Chen murmured in a low voice. Women are really fickle. He naturally noticed the gaze just now, but didn't think much about it, thinking it was looking at Zhao Linger. But the other men didn't think so, because it was just in this direction and they didn't say their names. Li Shang looked intoxicated. Have you noticed the smile on Ren Ruer's lips after she glanced at me just now? Nonsense, you're obviously looking at me. I usually have contact with her through my sister, but I just didn't say it out loud. Zhao Muyan looked sure, convinced that she was looking at him. You are wrong. Nangong Ru and I were looking at each other just now, trying to convey some kind of message. Feng Jia, Wang Kongking and others were not calm. Although they did not speak, their eyes flashed and they obviously had a lot of thoughts. In the line behind them, there were also people arguing, thinking that there was an opportunity. It was not a walking beauty, but a walking human-shaped vault. It was very large and you could withdraw money every day. Zhao Linger was speechless, eating fruit and drinking drinks from time to time. These men have no other abilities, but their narcissistic skills are very tyrannical. They can infer many things with just one look. The owner hasn't said anything yet, so maybe it won't have any impact on them. On the other side, Nangong Ru was chatting happily with her grandfather, and sometimes said hello to Mr. Zhao and Mr. Yi. At this time, she was dealing with everything delicately and gracefully, just like everyone else. Soon, the three old men looked at each other in tacit understanding and gave signals. Mr. Zhao said with a smile, "Xiaoro is a young man after all. It is not good for him to stay with old men like us all the time. It will be over if our slowness is passed on." Mr. Yi nodded. "That's right, Xiaoro, you should go and play with your friends." Nangong Ru puffed up her cheeks and said slyly, "No, I'm staying with Grandpa for a while." "Are you going to drive Ruer away not long after you arrived?" Mr. Nangong smiled and patted her hand. "Grandpa is at home. He has plenty of time when he goes back, as long as you don't run around. The boyfriend I asked you to find still hasn't done anything at all. What should you do in the future? Be obedient. The girl from the Zhao family has also come here to play with her." After persuading her for a while, Nangong Ru reluctantly nodded. As for finding a boyfriend, she didn't listen. There are countless people queuing up to chase her now, except for a certain person. Thinking of someone, Nangong Ru's heart moved and she looked around while walking. Soon, she saw Zhang Chen at Zhao Linger's table and immediately walked over there. Come, I'll just say that Ruer and I looked at each other just now and wanted to send me a message. Now she can't bear it anymore and has come to talk in person. Does she want to announce our relationship?" Li Shang scolded. "Don't talk nonsense, you are obviously looking at me. Meeting in public is completely different from meeting in a club, and my grandpa is here too. If you really say something, have a perfect misunderstanding, turn around and meet your parents, this thing can be easily accomplished." Normally, Li Shang would not scold others at will, but now he has fallen into some kind of fantasy. Even Wang Kongking is very emotional, let alone others. Zhao Muyan wanted to get up and greet him several times, but he held back. He was from the Zhao family and had to keep his composure. He then looked at his sister, Zhu Ba-san, and whispered, "Linger, that's your good sister, how about you pick her up and arrange to sit next to me?" Zhao Linger's face darkened. "No, providing you with information is already too much. Why do you ask her to come here? Surrounded by a bunch of perverts like you, listen to you say some common sayings, or give gifts to Chengrua. Her surname is Nangong. She can't buy anything you can buy, really." After being scolded like this, Zhao Muyan shook his head. "Humph, I won't even help your brother. If you don't scream, don't scream. She will come here on her own." Li Shang came over and said with a smile, "Sister Linger, what you just said was wrong. The value of a gift does not lie in the value of the gift, but in the person who gives it. You are acting rogue, I won't talk to you anymore." Except for Zhang Chen and Zhao Linger, the 6 people at the table were all paying attention to Nangong Ru. Someone at other tables quietly changed their positions and moved closer to the direction Nangong Ru was walking. Half of them are sitting in their seats. They have already seen the situation clearly and don't have much hope. What are they fighting for? However, if the opportunity arises, they will still take action. Nangong Ru could see the changes in the young people's area clearly from a distance. The arrogance in her heart resurfaced. Wasn't it because many people liked her and wanted to flatter her? At this moment, some people couldn't help but jump out and come to greet him. They don't care about anything else. It would be better if they could become Nangong Ru's boyfriend and confirm their relationship today. "Nangong, it's been a long time since we last saw each other in the club. Come to my table to have something to eat. I brought some delicious food in. Go to my table. I specially asked someone to buy a bottle of wine from abroad. It cost nearly 6 million. It is Frank's top red wine, which is your favorite. What's the point of going with them? I'm tired of the red wine and delicious food. Nangong's party is over, I'll show you the beautiful scenery." There are many new interesting buildings in the Magic City, as well as a variety of fun ways to play. Many people came forward to invite him, saying anything. Nangong Ru took a step forward, and they took a step back. But no matter how we go, the encirclement is maintained. Some people quit and some join, but overall, the number of people is growing. There was a sigh from the middle-aged crowd. I really haven't made any progress at all. I really thought I was chasing an ordinary girl. Stop watching it. Look in 5 minutes. Who does the girl from the Nangong family want to find? Hee. Many old people were also watching, but they turned their heads instantly. For those who blocked the invitation, the evaluation in my heart plummets. Mr. Nangong made up his mind even if these people blocking the road were established, he would dismantle them. And Nangong Ru was impatient, and the people around him were buzzing like flies. She said expressionlessly, "Please give in, I don't want to accept your invitation yet, and I want to leave now." As soon as these words came out, most of them dispersed immediately, leaving only 4 people. When they wanted to continue the invitation, their parents shook their heads in the middle-aged crowd with warning eyes. "Well, since it's such nonsense, I'll leave first, but don't worry, then I'll keep it for you." Nangong Ru nodded perfunctorily. She had shifted her direction just now and then readjusted her direction. Zhao Muyan's eyes lit up. "Sister, I told you, if you don't call her, she will come by herself." "Ahem. Help me see if my clothes are neat and tidy." Everyone ignored him and arranged their clothes and appearance, while Zhang Chen sat indifferently. He originally wanted to leave, but then his thoughts changed. What did he have to be afraid of? Leaving now seems like he has a guilty conscience, and the reaction of these rich second-generation people up close seems to be pretty good. Among the 6 people, Li Shang was the more excited one, while Wang Kongqing seemed very steady. They are all more interested, but it is not necessary. Now that external objects cannot be relied upon, this is naturally the mentality. Nangong Ru came over. Before anyone else could speak, she smiled and said, "Linger, it's been a long time since I last saw you. You are getting more and more beautiful. Can I sit next to you?" Zhao Linger smiled and said, "Okay." As she said this, she squeezed towards Zhang Chen and distanced herself from her brother. Obviously, she wants Nangong Ru to sit next to her brother. Zhao Muyan was overjoyed, thinking that at the critical moment, his sister was reliable and knew how to think of him. He is already a fan of the authorities, but others see it more clearly. Zhao Linger didn't want to create opportunities for him. He didn't want Nangong Ru to come into contact with Zhang Chen and replace her with her. Just when Zhao Muyan thought his chance had arrived, Nangong Ru said, "Linger, why don't I sit on your left, and you and your brother squeeze in? Zhang Chen and I are considered acquaintances. Although we have known each other for a short time, we hit it off immediately." As soon as these words were said, the 6 people who were still harboring ideas turned stiff. Did they hear it correctly? It's obviously biased towards Zhang Chen, it's been made clear. Li Shang explained unwillingly. "Nangong, Brother Zhang has only been in Magic City for a few days, and he has been playing with us these days. You guys haven't known each other for more than a day at most. How come you feel like old friends at first sight?" "That's right," Zhao Muchen said with a sour taste in his voice. "Brother Zhang came to the club every day. On the day he didn't come, he got drunk and slept for most of the day and a half. Let's put it bluntly, Zhang Chen and I met and got to know each other. It didn't take more than 20 minutes, and the content of the chat was very straightforward." "Why, can't it be done?" Nangong Sheng said angrily, "You care about my personal importance." Everyone was silent. Li Shang was speechless and could only look up at the sky. Zhao Muyan looked at his sister, signaled her with his eyes, and whispered, "Brother, come over here, we want to live together." Zhao Linger said stubbornly, "I don't. Just let Li Shang go over there. Nangong Ru is the same over there. I've already looked up at the sky, so why bother with me again?" Li Shang was confused. At this time, Zhang Chen followed the agreement and didn't say a word, letting everyone do their best. But it seems that everyone is not performing well, showing nothing, and is not as good as him, a silent person. The corners of Zhao Muyan's mouth twitched. After such a double blow, it was already difficult to speak. It's understandable that Nangong Ru doesn't want to stay by his side. After all, the 2 of them had just nodded their acquaintance before, so they didn't want to go deeper. And his sister actually treated him like this, and she seemed to be a little obsessed with Zhang Chen. What the hell is this? For example, People such as Feng Jia, Zhou Yuan and Wang Kongking are reduced to foil roles at this moment. There is no need to say anything, just take a look, there is no point in talking. Seeing Zhao Linger say this, Nangong Ru looked at Li Shang and asked softly, Brother Li, can you give up a position? We have met before, you won't refuse my request, right? Me. Li Shang looked awkward and nodded. Okay, I'll give you this seat, it's really. He looked at Zhang Chen enviously and moved aside. Without saying a word, the two beauties took the initiative to come to visit and sit firmly on the diaoyutai. Brother Zhang was indeed the same Brother Zhang. Nangong Ru smiled softly and walked over. Thank you then. Li Shang gave up completely. You're welcome, it's not my part anyway. The strange scene here made those who were paying attention to Nangong Ru see fire in their eyes. Several young people immediately stood up and wanted to go up to argue. You already have a beautiful woman by your side, and you are still greedy to ask for one? Is it possible that the two of them can marry home together? But his friend stopped him in time. Come back and sit down. Do you know the people in that circle? Zhao Muyan from the Zhao family, Yi Xing from the Yi family, as well as Li Shang and Wang Kongking. If you go there like this, everyone will have to peel off their skin. Besides, the man surrounded by Nangong Ru and Zhao Linger doesn't know his identity yet, so it's not good to offend him by going there rashly. It would be okay if Nangong Ru chooses here, we are only envious now. Several people who were originally on fire gradually calmed down. Not all second generations are the same. Circles and classes still exist, but there is just a general environment. The circle gathered around Zhang Chen is already considered one of the top ones in the Magic City. There was also discussion among the middle-aged people. They were just a little surprised, not angry at all, and they were all well educated. Chen Shikong praised with a smile. This brother Zhang is just like me when I was young, picking up women everywhere. Yi Leguo nodded slightly and said, that's true, but I think Nangong Ru went up by himself, along with brother Zhao's daughter. Old Nangong should be very angry now. His granddaughter is competing with other women for men, hee. Several black lines hung down Zhao Zhenghai's face, and he warned in a very unhappy tone. Why are you talking? At such an old age, you don't know how to be careful. Besides, that boy of yours is not good either. Nangong Ru doesn't say a word when he's around, but at least his son still chats with her. This time it was Yi Leguo's turn to be unhappy. If you don't say it, you won't say it. Anyway, Nangong Ru will not join my Yi family. Even a few words can't change anything. Don't care about that. Several people talked and then turned to talk about other things. They didn't care, but the old men sitting in the middle did. They made a bet. Mr. Zhao commented. Zhao Muyan's grandson is so unworthy, he only said a few words. He is finally better than Mr. Yi's grandson. Mr. Yi immediately counterattacked. Then your granddaughter is still fighting for a man with someone else's granddaughter. She still doesn't let go. In the end, they all got involved. What do you think, Brother Nangong? That makes sense, right? Mr. Nangong rolled his eyes. That makes no sense, my granddaughter is stronger. Nonsense. How is my granddaughter worse than your granddaughter? I don't know, but it's just bad, or not as good as my granddaughter. A few old people were like naughty boys, arguing over a problem, and no one cared about the bet just now. Zhang Chen, surrounded by two women, looked at Li Shang speechlessly. After looking at it for a while, I turned to look at Wang Kongking again, wanting to give you a chance, but opportunities are always so wonderful. Li Shang said with a bitter face, Brother Zhang, don't say anything. The previous agreement is invalid, but I will treat you to a drink after the party, and you must teach me some secrets. It doesn't matter if you were born with this skill, but I have never seen where you were born with it. If you don't teach me, I will keep following you. Zhang Chen pouted. I really didn't use any tricks. They came here by themselves. If you don't believe me, just ask me. I didn't say a word or move in the whole process, right? If you want to follow me, I'll follow you. All I need is a pair of chopsticks. As he said that, he picked up a piece of fruit and put it in his mouth, while the two women looked at the fruit plate in front of them in trance. Li Shang was doubtful, so he pushed Zhao Muyan. Brother Zhao, if you get to know your sister better, go and find out the result. It's really a show that can benefit everyone sitting here. Zhao Muyan's heart moved, and he looked at Zhao Linger. He didn't say anything, but the meaning was obvious. The table was so big, and they didn't lower their voices when chatting. They were obviously discussing. Zhao Linger sighed helplessly. I don't know. Anyway, what's wrong with me sitting here? Asked Nangong Ru. At this moment, her name has changed from Ruer to calling her by her real name. Li Shangshao moved to the other side with great concern. Sister Nangong, for the sake of giving up my seat to you before, please tell me what method Brother Zhang used. Is it suitable for me? Zhang Chen covered his face and turned his head. This fact was in front of him, but he just didn't believe it. Nangong Ru was also speechless. She just sat here because she had a good impression in the hotel. Apart from this, she felt very uncomfortable in other places, and she had to deal with those men who were trying to be attentive for nothing. Even without Zhang Chen, she would stay next to Zhao Linger. She said softly, there are no tricks or extraneous means. You guys have too much imagination. If you want to chase girls, just be sincere. You always look like you are trying to please. Zhang Chen suppressed his laughter and looked at Li Shang. You should give up now, because the whole family is eating and drinking. As the saying goes, if you lick the dog until the end, there will be nothing left. But he was also a little curious. Why did Nangong Ru and Zhao Linger sit next to him? Zhao Linger could shamelessly explain that it was his handsomeness that attracted her, but Nangong Ru was hard to explain. In addition to the inexplicable questions Zhao Muyan asked before, there were a lot of inside stories. At the table for 9 people, Zhang Chen, the 2 women, and the 3 of them were very comfortable, and everyone else had to look over from time to time. Even though he knew there was no result, he still subconsciously waited and watched. Time gradually passed, and Zhang Chen's table almost attracted everyone's attention. The middle-aged people and a bunch of old people occasionally glanced at each other and kept their attention. But in the young people area, many people were staring directly at it, if it weren't for the energy of this table. At this time, a stupid young man should come to look for trouble. Zhang Chen and the others were paid attention to by most people, but in this small table, even people were paying attention to Zhang Chen. Zhao Muyan felt the most uneasy. As time passed, he also thought of a question. Is his sister competing for men with others now? How could a member of the Zhao family do such a thing? If we go back, he will definitely be the first to be unlucky because he is old. As a girl, Zhao Linger will receive preferential treatment, but maybe no punishment at all, because it's been like this since she was a child. After thinking about it, Zhao Muyan leaned forward and whispered, Sister, I have something to tell you. Come here and listen to what I have to say. Zhao Linger shook her head. No, you can't say this. Do I have to go with you? Zhao Muyan's face turned bitter. Well, it's actually you who have embarrassed the Zhao family by doing this. I will have to teach your brother a lesson when I go back. He knew his sister's character and made strong demands, the more rebellious and disobedient she became. Just like sucking a cat, follow the hare. Ah, this. Zhao Linger rolled her eyes. Brother, if you don't let Nangong Ru sit here with me, then there will be no problem, right? Zhao Muyan's legs went weak and he held the table with both hands. What did you just say? Hurry up and tell me that I heard you wrong just now. Those things are not true. Li Shang laughed and struck. Brother Zhao, Sister Linger said it very clearly. You didn't have any auditory hallucinations either. It was all true and everyone heard it. Zhao Muyan glared at Li Shang, and suddenly his eyes glanced at Li Shang's watch inadvertently. He said excitedly, It's past 11 o'clock now, and according to usual practice, it will be time to eat soon. Linger, come with me to see your father and grandpa later. Don't make any excuses this time. You have to go if you don't want to go. Zhao Linger puffed up her cheeks, looked at the middle-aged area and the old people, and nodded. Zhang Chen glanced at the excited Zhao Muyan and spread his hands. Brotherly, I haven't done anything yet and you have already brought shame on the family. It's a bit too much. Also, if you are so happy, why won't Zhao Linger attend the afternoon party? Yi Xing muttered. This is already 2 women fighting for one husband. Isn't this a shame for the family? Wang Kongqing explained with a smile. Brother Zhang, although you haven't done anything, in the eyes of others, this is a dispute between 2 people who like you and want to get you. As soon as the enemies of the Zhao family and the Nangong family spread the news, hey. You said this wouldn't happen, just look around. Zhang Chen raised his eyebrows. He hadn't paid attention before, thinking that he wouldn't suffer anyway, so he didn't care. Only now did I realize that many of the young people were looking at him angrily and wanted to change places with him, but they didn't dare to step forward. The older generation and the previous generation were chatting with each other, and their eyes were wandering here. Because the distance was too far, Zhang Chen couldn't see clearly what the look was, but what was certain was that the result was not very good. 3 or 2 middle-aged men were pointing and talking in low voices. Zhang Chen looked at Zhao Muyan and said, "With everything like this, doesn't it seem guilty to separate? If anyone comes up and asks, just tell the truth. The prerequisite is that the other party has a good attitude." Zhao Muyan's thoughts turned around. As if this was the truth, he decided to ask his tata later. At this moment, the old men sitting in the middle stood up with smiles, chatted with each other, and headed towards a temporary place set up next to the bund. "There is a place to eat. If you don't want to go, you can also go to a nearby 5-star hotel. If you really want to talk about it, the food in the club is not much different from the food in a 5-star hotel. After all, it is cooked for the rich. The chef we hired was one of the best in the country, and he didn't have to choose any of his craft ingredients." The middle-aged people also stood up one after another, and Zhang Chen and others followed them, and most of them soon dispersed. Zhao Muyan took his sister and left in a hurry. Yi Xing and Feng Jia were also called away by their father. Only Wang Kongqing and Li Shang were left beside Zhang Chen. Li Shang suggested, "We're walking so fast, brother Zhang, let's go to the 5-star hotel outside to eat. It's quiet and no one will disturb us." "Mr. Wang, what do you mean? I'm fine with it, as long as the food is delicious. I have no objection." Zhu Kongqing didn't care. Zhang Chen said casually, "Let's go to the hotel." Li Shang led the way, thinking about how to come up with some tricks to pick up girls during dinner later. He used to spend money, give expensive gifts, or give some promises, and finally achieve his goals. Today, after seeing Zhang Chen motionless, the two beauties took the initiative to talk to each other, and their attitudes were very clear. But these two beauties are definitely not like that when they meet other people. Li Shang was very envious at the time. He felt that the methods he used before were too old-fashioned and inefficient, and he must come up with something good this time. The three of them walked into a 5-star hotel, and when ordering food, Li Shang immediately said that he would treat them. Zhang Chen and Wang Kongqing naturally had no objection. They are about to discuss ways to pick up girls, and the dining place provided by the club. Zhao Muyan, Zhao Linger, and their father Zhao Zheng all lowered their heads and looked at the dining table. A man with white hair and beard sat in front of them. His aura was calm and powerful. Mr. Zhao spoke. "Zheng, how do you usually discipline your children? Each one is worse than the last. Linger is still young, so I won't say anything more. Look at this kid Mu Yan, he can even lose girls from other families if he walks in front of him. It's better to imitate that boy from the Yi family and not say a word. Or be like the young man at the same table with him. He doesn't say anything, and when they get married, he automatically throws himself into the arms of a good girl." Zhao Linger defended in a low voice, "Grandpa, Zhang Chen and I are just ordinary friends, and the chances of my brother and Nangong Ru being together are slim." Zhao Muyan nodded repeatedly. "Yes, Grandpa, and Zhang Chen is lucky." Mu Yan was so unintelligent, and what he said was wrong. Zhao Zheng continued to lower his head and cursed in his heart. Sure enough, Mr. Zhao's face became even more ugly. "Then why do you think Zhang Chen is lucky and you are not? He has not known the Nangong family girl for a long time, right?" Zhao Muyan couldn't say a word after being trained, but Zhao Ling was fine. After a while, Mr. Zhao suddenly said, "Mu Yan, if you have nothing to do, stay with Zhang Chen more often and maintain a good relationship. If possible, take him to your home to play, and I will meet him." "What?" Zhao Zheng looked up in shock. On the other side, Yi Xing's grandfather also said the same thing to Yi Xing, but he didn't explain why. Seeing the shocked faces of the three descendants, Mr. Zhao felt unhappy. "What's with your shocked expressions? What I'm saying now is no longer valid. Look at others, and then look at yourselves. Mu Yan, tell me first, how do you compare with that Zhang Chen?" Zhao Muyan, who was named, hesitated for a while and said, "Well, of course Zhang Chen is better than me, but this is only compared to property, etc. I have not known him very well, so I am not very familiar with him." Mr. Zhao looked at Zhao Zheng again. "Tell me, how far can you go under the same circumstances?" He had already investigated earlier and obtained Zhang Chen's basic information from the club. He was a gold member at a young age. Being able to make so much money from scratch, in his opinion, already reflects many problems. Zhao Zheng smiled awkwardly. Under the same circumstances, there is no problem in becoming a silver member. It will take several years to become a gold member. Whether you succeed in the end depends on chance and luck. There is a tenfold difference between silver members and gold members. They will be even more shocked when they find out Zhang Chen's specific wealth. Mu Yan, this is one of the reasons why I asked you to befriend Zhang Chen. The future will be yours after all. Mr. Zhao sighed. He pointed to the dining table. Look back and think for yourself. Eat first. I won't go there in the afternoon. The three of them lowered their heads. Zhao Muyan, father and son, looked at each other with their eyes averted. Zhao Zheng was scolded, not to find others to be angry with, because his daughter was the most favored and could not be touched. He looked around the Zhao family and found that his son Zhao Muyan was easier to teach and could vent his anger. After finishing the lunch, most of the old people left and did not participate in the afternoon party. A small number of middle-aged men also left. It's rare for them to spare half a day for a party. They usually don't have any free time. After eating, we take a lunch break. The afternoon party usually starts between 2 and 3 o'clock. In a 5-star hotel, Li Shang treats guests to a meal. At this time, everyone had eaten almost everything, and the three of them were lying on the chairs comfortably. Zhang Chen glanced sideways at Li Shang. Tell me, what's the reason for bringing us two here? No, or in other words, what's the purpose of bringing me here? He didn't believe that he would take the initiative to treat guests to dinner for no reason. If it were Wang Kongking, he would still have some credibility. Because he took the initiative to make friends, he deserved to shed some blood. Li Shang smiled and said, What's the point? We are all friends. What's the point of having a meal? CCEJ, oh, that's it. If nothing happens, let's go. We'll have almost everything to eat. Zhang Chen said, getting up and preparing to leave. Wait a minute. Li Shang immediately said with a smile. I just remembered that there is something I want to ask Brother Zhang, but there are many people at the party, so I feel embarrassed to ask. I can talk now. Brother Zhang, please sit down and listen to me first. After you finish eating, the party will start after 2 o'clock. It's still early. He persuaded Zhang Chen to come back and found that the old man Wang Kongking was sitting there and didn't move. Li Shang shook his head with regret. If Wang Kongking left, he would not try to persuade him to stay. He would rather be alone. Wang Kongking urged. Don't hide it, just tell me what you have to say, I'm just curious. Zhang Chen looked over. He probably knew what the other party was going to ask, but he still wanted to wait for the other party to say it. Li Shang asked. Brother Zhang, how did you do that scene just now? Let's talk about Zhao Linger first. You and she don't have much interaction, but I can see it. Why did the party change so much? If you go back to Nancheng, won't she and Nangong Ru pursue you? Zhang Chen spread his hands. Probably not. When I develop, I will still come to the Magic City. As for how to do it, Zhao Linger, I guess it's because of strength. Nanchangru is probably from other aspects. After speaking casually, he looked at the two people who had been listening carefully. Zhang Chen felt a little funny. It turned out that even the two rich second generations who looked very prosperous on the surface were very interested in talking about these issues. Especially after he surpassed both of them in that aspect. Wang Kongking didn't quite understand what happened, so he was the first to come to his senses. Brother Zhang, according to your estimation, how long will it take for you to develop into the Magic City? I will treat you to a drink. But you haven't said yet, what is Nangong Ru's problem? Do I have any hope? Li Shang, on the other hand, was muttering beside him. Strength, my current strength is completely worrying, what should I do? An idea came to his mind. How about holding Brother Yang's thigh tight? Those old men were extremely optimistic about Zhang Chen, and he had already obtained information through his own channels. I am very willing to believe in the experience and perspective of predecessors. Zhang Chen thought for a while and said, It depends on how I feel about developing into a magical city. If you can inherit the family's property now, you will still be short of 1/3. He didn't say anything extra. He just had a meal with the other party and might invite him back next time. There was silence in the box for a while, and none of the three people spoke anymore. After a while, Li Shang said with a smile, Brother Zhang, Mr. Wang, let's go to that gathering place now. Someone should be discussing the gameplay over there now. I don't know what new projects will be released this year. Wang Kongking was not very interested. Let's stick to the same old routine. What new tricks can we come up with? How to play? Zhang Chen asked the two of them while walking. It was his first time to participate in an offline gathering of this kind of rich club, and many people didn't know. When the three of them left the hotel, they walked for about 10 minutes and came to a small shop called Bingo House. Zhang Chen understood immediately after listening to Li Shang and Wang Kongqing's answers along the way. These second-generation rich people still know how to play, and they also have the mind and background to figure out various ways to play and achieve their goals at the minimum cost. It turns out that during the second half of the offline gathering every year, the elders leave. Most of the middle-aged people left the scene, and the middle-aged people who did not leave the scene could not get together with young people like them. How is it possible for a group of young rich second-generation people to just drink and make friends and chat? If someone is suppressing him, he won't dare to act rashly. If he is not suppressed, then he will jump. The young second-generation rich people gather together every year to discuss and finally vote to find several ways to play. There is a natural chance of winning or losing. The things we play are all within the scope of the law, and there is no overstep. Wang Kongqing explained. Brother Zhang, this is where we vote to determine the gameplay, and there are also methods such as sitting on the bank to see what is played. Zhang Chen nodded slightly. Well, I remember Li Shang and the others talked about it last time, saying they wanted to bring 10 million to play. 27. Is this 10 million too much or too little? I don't have much money with me. The three of them were walking around inside the bingo hut. Zhang Chen asked questions while looking around the environment. This place could barely be regarded as a bar. But the layout here is several levels worse than that of the rich club, and even the staff are temporarily deployed. Several people who work on the 30th floor of the Regal Club have been transferred here. Wang Kongqing recalled some situations in the past few years and said after careful consideration, 10 million is relatively not low, but if I want to have more fun, that amount of money is not enough. And the right to speak is relatively low. Li Shang and Brother Zhang should bring more than 10 million, right? Li Shanggrao shook his head. I haven't ordered the mobilization of funds yet. If there is nothing interesting, it will be unnecessary. Zhang Chen was about to speak when suddenly a harsh voice came from beside him. Why haven't we mobilized funds yet? I think we just don't have any money. We only need 10 million to mobilize? I can take it out easily, and there is Brother Zhang next to me. People who have no money are indeed mixed with people who have no money. They will not make much progress. You can still go back and forth from where you are. No. It's embarrassing in the devil's capital. As the words fell, three young people came from behind them. The one who spoke was a young man wearing glasses in the middle. After speaking, he pushed up his glasses with his middle finger and showed a sneer at the corner of his mouth. The two people next to them laughed. Hey, it doesn't sound right at first, but when you think about it carefully, it makes perfect sense. Zhang Chen raised his eyebrows and looked at the three of them up and down. This was obviously aimed at him. Li Shang was just passing by, and Wang Kongqing was not included. But he had never seen the three in front of him, and they suddenly bit each other. He didn't understand. Do you think they were easy to bully? Zhang Chen asked directly. Brother Li, do you know who these three mad dogs are, and whose cage was not tightly closed and they were released? Of course I know. Li Shang pointed with his hand. The four-eyed boy is Yang Ning, the heir of the Yang family. It is said that he has inherited part of the family business and has a little money. The two next to him are like younger brothers. It's okay not to mention it. Just crush him to death. Yeah, but that four-eyed guy likes Nangong Ru very much. He keeps stalking her every year. I guess it's for money. Well, this time. Zhang Chen suddenly realized. I'm just saying, Yang Ning of the Yang family should find an opportunity to beat him to death. After saying that, he turned around and continued to visit inside. He would not be in a good mood just because such a person scolded him. Nothing can be changed if the mood becomes bad. Finding an opportunity to beat three people to death is the most correct thing to do. Just ignore it until then. Knowing the name and family, and being in the rich club, I have many opportunities and methods. Wang Kongqing's eyes lit up when he saw that the two of them had taken care of things, and he pulled Ji Shang to follow. Let's go in and visit. It's not a good time to fight with a mad dog. Isn't it a good time to have a party in the afternoon? I'll teach you a few more lessons. The voices of the three people were not loud, but they were enough for Yang Ning and the others to hear clearly. They didn't come back to their senses until they walked far away and entered the bingo hut. Those curse words and the information revealed just now seemed to still be in my ears. Yang Ning's expression turned ugly. Damn that guy, I'll show him something when we get together in the afternoon. It's best to stay away from Nangong Ru. Come on, let's go in and unite some people. I don't believe they dare to fall out just by playing a game. After walking through another small door, the inner venue is much larger than the outside, with a height of 10 meters. At 1:30 p.m., most of the young people who came to the party gathered here. When the party starts, it's time to officially have fun, and it's boring to play alone. Zhang Chen and Li Shang turned around half a circle when they heard someone calling him in the distance. Brother Zhang, come here, where have you been? Zhang Chen looked up and saw that it was Zhao Muyan brother and sister, Yi Xing, Feng Jia and others. They immediately gathered together. Now, Nangong Ru was the only one who didn't arrive. She went to accompany her grandfather. Whether she could come or not was still a question. Li Shang answered the question just now. I treated guests out for a meal before, and was bitten by a dog as soon as I came in. What about you? Zhao Muyan stepped forward and said, okay, you just know how to treat Brother Zhang to dinner and abandon us. I have never seen you so active. Please tell me honestly, do you have any other activities besides entertaining guests? Remember to take me with you. If you take me with you, I will definitely use my strength to beat the dog this time, and I won't give in at all. He spoke with awe-inspiring righteousness. People who didn't know it thought he was very righteous, but everything he said was exposed. Zhao Linger was so angry that she used her little hands to grab the soft spot around Zhao Muyan's waist. Do you think she doesn't exist, or do you think she doesn't understand? Hey, it hurts. Zhao Muyan's face was tangled, and he begged for mercy. Linger, let go. I am your brother after all, save some face for me. Zhao Linger turned her head away and said, what you just said are very honorable. Even though he said that, his hands had already loosened up and were not pinching. Li Shang understood that Zhao Muyan had misunderstood something. He smiled and approached. Of course there will be follow-up activities. Brother Zhao is coming to the secular world. But Brother Zhang and young Master Wang have already said that no one will come in unless you help. Zhao Muyan agreed. No problem, let me know who provoked you. Li Shang stepped forward with a smile and told everyone about what happened to Yang Ning when he came in. Everyone else heard it. Yi Xing and Feng Jia immediately expressed their support and could go through it together. Wang Kongqing analyzed rationally. If we really want to fight, if the six of us join together, the Yang family has no chance. I guess when we play later, he will come out to stir up trouble and make us lose face. Brother Li, please mobilize funds now. I won't tell you or remind you when the time comes. Zhang Chen waved his hand and said nonchalantly, Young Master Wang, funds are not a problem, even with me here. The other party is mainly here for me. If you can come forward to help, why bother asking you to spend money? Just teach those four-eyed guy a lesson. When Zhao Linger heard this, she looked at Chen with admiration. You know, as soon as you say this, at least hundreds of millions of funds will be squandered or even more. The other party didn't change his expression. Yang Ning, who had had conflicts with Zhang Chen and others, was also uniting with others at this time. Mainly those who like Nangong Ru but have never gotten her. Jealousy makes them strong. Yang Ning quickly gathered dozens of people. Although the quality was insufficient, the quantity could make up for the gap between the two sides. There was only one purpose for gathering together, to teach the man who was close to Nangong Ru a lesson so that he would not dare to stay in the magic city. If it fails, they will have no objections from now on. There are only about 10 people, which is a bit small. Yang Ning looked at this side from behind with some doubts in his heart. As time gradually passed, Zhang Chen looked at his watch and asked with some confusion, Are we just going to wait like this? How come you didn't see it when you talked about the choice method or the discussion method? Zhao Muyan frowned slightly. This shouldn't be the case. It's not like this usually. Someone has come out to host it before. Just as they were wondering, Wang Kongqing walked onto the stage alone and was about to start hosting. As the only son of King Jianlin, he had the confidence and identity. The audience was silent and no one objected. Wang Kongqing coughed and opened his mouth. Hello everyone. It's almost time for the afternoon party, and there's still no one coming forward to organize it, so I'll do it for you. After all, we still have to play. Let's all talk about what we can do in the afternoon. If it doesn't work, we'll just leave and wait until 4 o'clock, 423, to finish. Someone said, shooting or hunting, There was a wise man who jumped out to report gambling last time. Fortunately, we didn't play too much, so we can keep things under control. Don't mention how disgusting it would be if we did it again. It makes sense, but shooting and hunting are too boring. It's better to go racing on the track. There is a special venue anyway. I still think gambling is interesting. It tests psychology, luck, reaction, etc. Everyone has their own ideas. Wong Kongking's head swelled as he stood on the stage. He thought it was a simple thing, but he didn't expect it to be so complicated. It's impossible to adopt everyone's suggestions, and they don't have the time and energy to play one by one. Just discussing the gameplay consumes a lot of time. Wong Kongking was familiar with Li Shang, so he called him up to help with the statistics. After about 10 minutes, the statistics were roughly completed. Once you figure out a ranking, you can make an announcement directly. Zhao Muyan said with a smile in the audience. Brother Zhang, Yang Ning and others will definitely come up to provoke you. How big do you think they will go? Zhang Chen looked at the dozen or so people in the opposite corner. It's not up to them. If we don't come up with 3.5 billion chips, I won't have time to play with them. I said before that I was very rich, but 3 to 500 million is just small money to me. When Zhao Muyan heard this, his heart skipped a beat and he couldn't calm down for a long time. 3 to 5 billion is small money? At this time, he had a feeling that there was an error in the asset appraisal of the Magic City Rich Club. At least there was an error in the appraisal of Zhang Chen. Are these words spoken by a billionaire? Zhang Chen didn't notice Zhao Muyan's shock. He was thinking at this time, should the 3 to 5 billion be doubled? Will it scare Yang Ning and the others away? It's a pity that we can't hit them hard. Zhao Linger asked curiously, Brother Zhang, are you really just a gold member? Why do I think you don't care about what you say, especially those platinum members with tens of billions of dollars? Huh? Zhang Chen spread his hands. I'm indeed a gold member now. Can the card still be fake? There was no benefit in being promoted to platinum membership, so he didn't bother to find proof from the club's members. If he discovers it, it's a matter of skill. If he doesn't, he will continue to hide it. At this moment, on the stage, Wong Kongking and Li Shang had already figured out what to play at the party this afternoon. Ahem. Wong Kongking looked around and said slowly, Hello everyone, after statistics, several projects played this afternoon have been listed, and they are listed in chronological order. The first one is racing, the second one is playing gold, and the third one is target shooting. Well, the third one requires a little preparation time, and there are more to follow, but I guess there won't be enough time, so let's do this first. After saying that, Wong Kongking pulled Li Shang and jumped off the stage. Everyone wanted to go to the bund. To see if everyone has left, the superficial skills must be in place. After such an interruption, it was almost 2 o'clock, and it was a good time to go to the bund. The second generation gathered in the Bingguo hut began to disperse. The 7 Zhang Chens walked together. Zhao Muyan looked at Wong Kongking and Li Shangdao. Honestly, is there some shady secret behind that ranking? If there is news, tell me. There must be a guy who opens the market, and if there is money, everyone can make money together. Li Shang explained in a low voice. I still have some confidence in my drag racing skills. It was originally the first game of Golden Flower. Besides, that guy Yang Ning also likes racing. Everyone suddenly realized that they would not mention this topic immediately, and would only invest money after the market opening. When the younger generation returned to the gathering place on the bund, there was no one from the older generation, and most of the people from the older generation were missing. Some chatted and then left together, as if the party had come to an end. Zhang Chen turned to look at Wong Kongking. Is it so direct? He thought they would gather first and then gradually disperse, but he didn't expect this to be the case. Wong Kongking nodded silently. Yes, but occasionally there will be accidents. It was because of those accidents that they had to look back and see who ranked them the lowest. Not long after, almost all the people from the previous generation left, and those who didn't left were leaving together for their friends. Li Shang shouted excitedly. Let's go to the supercar club first. Those who shout the loudest will compete with each other later on in terms of driving skills. I'm talking about you. Yang Ning, don't be afraid later. Whoever is cowarding is a bastard. There is still a chance of winning. Don't just use some junk to make up the numbers. At least you have to have something. He wanted to shout more, but Zhang Chen, Zhao Muyan and others stopped him. Okay, don't be so fierce, you'll be howling when you get there. As soon as the younger generation left, employees belonging to the Regal Club building emerged and began to clean up the mess. As soon as Zhang Chen walked out, he saw Li Hu and Yi standing in a Rolls-Royce with the sun in front of him. Li Hu also saw his boss coming out. He immediately opened the car door, turned on the air conditioner in the car to the maximum, and then stood in the back seat to wait. Wang Kongqing praised, "Brother Zhang, your driver is very good. See you at 1.4 in front of the supercar club." "See you at the door," Zhang Chen responded with a smile. In the Bund parking lot, the engines of cars kept roaring and supercars and luxury cars left one by one. Zhang Chen also sat in the back of the Rolls-Royce and asked Li Hu to drive and follow the team. Many luxury cars passed by on the street, and ordinary vehicles quickly gave way when they encountered them. At this time, BMW, Land Rover, and Audi have all become ordinary and dare not compete. 10 minutes later, many luxury cars stopped at the entrance of a club covering an area of several hundred square meters. The boss behind this also had connections, so he notified his subordinates in advance. As soon as the luxury car arrived, the general manager led all the employees to stand on both sides of the store door to welcome him. Because there is no real leader, he is extremely polite to everyone he meets. After you are invited inside, you must arrange for someone to receive you carefully without showing any slightest care. Zhang Chen was one of the later ones to arrive, and he was waiting for Wang Kongqing and the others, which delayed them for a while. When we entered, there was no one outside. Zhang Chen waved his hand. "Young Master Wang, Brother Zhao, hurry up and leave." Li Shang runs to the front. "Don't wait until the market opens without placing a bet." Zhao Muyan smiled and said, "Li Shangjing is here, he won't do that." When the general manager of the supercar club saw the three people approaching, he quickly stepped forward with a smile and said, "Welcome you three, here are the traces. The venue is ready. Are you going to have a competition or something?" Wang Kongqing nodded slightly. "Well, it's equivalent to a competition. Do you have the same model here?" "It depends on how many people there are. If there are a lot of people, it won't be enough," said the general manager of the supercar club. "Then you come with us." The general manager of the supercar club quickly led the way. Everyone just went this way. As soon as they left, the outside suddenly became empty, and the employees lined up didn't know what to do. "Shall we go in now?" Those people just now were all second-generation rich people. It's the first time I've seen so many of them. But why is the general manager so polite? He wasn't like this before he was 22 years old. It's better to stay outside. Go inside and wait until you have to do something later. The general manager is being polite, probably to give face to those second-generation people. After all, there are a lot of people, and it will definitely bring business. I don't think that's the case. The second-generation rich people who came here before were always received by Director Wang. Why is it an exception this time? The employees outside were idle and chatting like this, and they didn't even know who was coming behind them. Suddenly, the person behind them spoke. "You are very leisurely. Come in and receive me. If anyone has complained, I will fire you directly. This time it is not a joke. If you don't have good vision, don't make rash guesses. The people who come today are all future billionaires, and some of them are now." Many employees looked back and hurriedly said, "Yes, boss." After saying that, they all walked away quickly with their heads lowered, and their heartbeats started to beat faster. When did the boss run behind him? It was like a horror movie. Watching his men enter, the owner of the supercar club shook his head helplessly and headed towards where many second-generation people gathered. No one informed him of the news before the party because it was a temporary decision and very sudden. When the club owner came in, the second-generation people who were divided into small groups looked at him one after another. Seeing this kind of battle, the 30-year-old club owner had a bitter look on his face. He couldn't afford to offend any of the men present. He cupped his hands first. "Everyone, just tell me what you want to play, and I will try my best to provide you with what you need. Is there an organizer or representative?" The club owner looked at Wang Kongqing and then at other places where there were many people. Zhang Chen discussed with Li Shang and others for a while, and he came out as a representative. On the other side, Yang Ning appeared, and other small groups each presented one person. Some people simply abstained and just came to watch the fun. "Boss, I won't make it difficult for you. I just need to borrow the venue and the car. The rent will be paid directly to the Regal Club afterwards." "How many cars can be running in the venue at the same time?" Seeing that no one else was speaking, Zhang Chen directly smoothed things over for them. Yang Ning and others moved, but finally remained silent. As long as someone came forward to speak, the boss breathed a sigh of relief and said, "That's no problem, all the venues can be used. The track can run 5 cars at a time, and there is a high-definition camera at the end to ensure accurate rankings." Zhang Chen nodded and looked at the others. "Do you have any opinions? If not, let's start the competition. But first, let's agree on the prize. What do you think, Yang Ning?" Yang Ning said coldly, "HMPH, just a competition, 50 million per game. You're sending out beggars for 50 million. It starts at 200 million and there's no upper limit. Don't you mean you're rich?" Seeing the disdainful smile on Zhang Chen's lips, Yang Ning was trembling with anger, but she didn't agree at all. Worried that there are unknown traps, he raised a finger. 100 million, plus 50 million after each round. Zhang Chen curled his lips. "Okay, it's settled, boss, you will be the middleman, and both parties will give you the gambling money, how about it?" The club owner swallowed. Okay. His heartbeat was speeding up at this time, and the only feeling he had was that these second-generation people were really rich, and even 50 million yuan would not be enough to look down on them. Others were as aggressive as these two, and he even thought of running away with the money. But fortunately, the others are relatively sensible and don't have any hatred. They are observing Zhang Chen and Yang Ning. The conditions were agreed, and both parties had no ink marks. They each took out a bank card with a value of 100 million and handed it to the club owner. 15 minutes later, 5 Ferraris of the same model stopped on the supercar club's internal track. The referee holds the flag in one hand and prepares to blow the whistle. Li Shang and other 5 people were sitting in the cab. The car had started, waiting for the bet to be decided. The club owner did not exceed his expectations and put up a betting plate, and all the second-generation people present placed their bets. You can redeem it directly as soon as the game is over. Zhang 763 Chen came back from the club owner and nodded slightly to Zhao Muyan and others. "It has been decided. It depends on Li Shang's performance. If his performance is not good, then we will lower the score this time." Yi Xing rolled his eyes and said a little feebly, "Brother Zhang, our total is 4 to 5 billion, and you actually said it was a small loss? Now I also seriously suspect that there is something wrong with your level. Our ranks should not be on the same level." "It makes sense, I think so too," Zhao Muyan agreed. Seeing them like this, Zhao Linger said with a smile, "Didn't you say that Xiao Qing Yiqing feels distressed now?" Linger still sees things thoroughly. Zhang Chen added another blow. Just then, the club owner's voice came from a distance. "Okay, stop betting now, the game will start soon." Zhang Chen and the others were not playing around, they all found a good position and started watching. Not long after, everyone heard a roar, and 5 Ferraris roared on the track. Yang Ning, who was against them, had already finished the competition by himself. He did not dare to leave the 100 million win or loss in the hands of others. Yang Ning's eyes widened, thinking that if he surpassed Li Shang, he would get 100 million, and he was excited. Time gradually passed, all 5 Ferraris passed the second lap, and there was still one last lap left. Among the 5 Ferraris, Yang Ning and Li Shang took the lead, leaving the 3 behind them behind. They only need to look to the side to look at each other, and in front of them is the terminal station with the banner. Zhang Chen and the others looked up at the screen above their heads. Zhao Muyan, who was watching the video, suddenly said, "Linger, relax and put your hands down, okay? If I don't, do you care about me?" Zhao Linger stared at the video without moving. Zhao Muyan reminded him very silently, "But it was my hand you pinched, it hurts so much now, hiss." He suddenly gasped because Zhao Linger suddenly used great force. No need to look further, it's green. Zhao Muyan's face was dark, and after moving twice, he finally took his hand out without even watching the video. He was about to show his brother's dignity and teach his sister a lesson. Zhao Linger said first, "Brother, Li Shang won, it was so thrilling just now, I was a little excited, we made a profit. You hurry up and calculate how much money we got in total. Go, I won't sue you this time and let you go." As soon as Zhao Muyan was interrupted, he was dominated. "Oh, okay." Zhang Chen suppressed his laughter and looked at the video. At this time, Yang Ning came out of the Ferrari with an angry face and clenched fists. Li Shangyu was watching the excitement leisurely. He was the first, and it would be great to win the next one. Zhang Chen suddenly stood up and said, "Young Master Wang, Brother Feng, Let's go over and help Li Shang. The next one is 150 million. We must hold on tight. Wang Kongking stretched his body. Okay, I only pressed 60 million just now, so I didn't make much money. Next time I pressed a little more. If I win this, I will definitely treat Li Shang to a good meal later. Zhao Linger didn't wait for her brother to come back to report the news, and left with Zhang Chen and the others. On the track, Li Shang and Yang Ning were looking at each other. One was smiling proudly, while the other was angry. Oh, brother Yang, isn't it just 100 million? What did you say before? If you have money, what do you care about? Now is the time to show it. Don't be timid, just make 200 million, and get your money back if you win. Li Shangzheng was mockingly happy, and suddenly waved his hand and said, Brother Zhang, Mr. Wang, and Feng Jia, come over here. Zhang Chen smiled and nodded, then turned and walked in the direction of Yang Ning. Seeing the 5 people walking together, Yang Ning subconsciously took a step back, her face suddenly lost its composure, and she took 2 steps forward. Zhang Chen, what do you want to do here? Zhao Linger noticed the detail of retreating and couldn't help but chuckle. Within such a short distance, everyone could hear it very clearly. Zhao Linger hurriedly explained, I didn't mean to laugh. I didn't mean to laugh at you, me. The more she explained, the more confused she became. Yang Ning's face turned red and she was about to run away. Zhang Chen said with a smile, Linger, there is no need to explain deliberately. Yang Ning, why don't you double the money and make money back in one go? It takes time to take your time. There are still many projects to play later. Li Shang also came over at this time and nodded in agreement. Yang Ning looked ugly. He wanted to agree directly, but he was afraid of losing. If he continued to lose, he would suffer a big loss. At first, he said he wanted to teach Zhang Chen a lesson, but a dozen or so people gave verbal support, but they didn't pay a penny. He was the only one who took the lead, and he regretted it a little. Zhang Chen and Li Shang looked at each other, thinking about forcing them. Yang Ning suddenly said, As good as you guys are, I won't play anymore. You can play by yourself. Then, he threw the car keys on the driver's seat and left without looking back. Li Shang murmured. Did we scare him away, or did we press him hard enough to bear it? It's a pity that person seems to be quite courageous. He is actually such a person. Wang Kongking sighed. He didn't win much and it didn't feel satisfying. Zhang Chen waved his hand. Let's go, it's good to give him a lesson. I won't dare to bite anyone casually next time. Li Shangying, whom all of them had just bet on, had an odds of 1.2. Zhao Muyan was holding his cell phone to calculate the number that each person deserved. The 100 million in funds provided by Yang Ning alone belonged to Zhang Chen. When everyone returned to their own areas, the club owner ran over with 2 bank cards in his hand. Hello, the other boss can't come. These 2 bank cards are yours. The password is written on the back, you can check the funds now. Zhang Chen looked at it twice and put it away, ready to go back and give some to Li Shang. And it seems that Yang Ning is really planning to lose face and pretend that he didn't say anything he said before. Without the bet between them, drag racing seems to have lost its flavor. Someone came off the field and ran a few rounds of friendly competition. As time went by, no one wanted to play anymore. It was not interesting at all. Representatives from several small circles came out to discuss with Zhang Chen. One representative suggested, Brother Zhang, go to Phoenix City. It's more comfortable to play cards there. You can come here anytime for racing. It's rare to gather so many people. It's just that I don't think you want to stay here anymore. I wonder if you will have a chance to go shooting in the future. Zhang Chen shrugged. I have no objection, I can play with anything. Less than an hour after coming here, all the second-generation people left, leaving only a few scattered cars on the site. The general manager of the supercar club approached cautiously. Boss, they have many violations and vehicle damage. Do you need to claim a little more money? I heard they are very wealthy over there. Do you think you don't care about the expense? The club owner's face changed. No, give them a discount. Your boss, I'm still thinking about how to apply to join them. If you mess up something for me, you'll have to bear the consequences. I'm rich, but I'm not stupid. The general manager shrank his head and wisely turned around and left. A little outside the center of Magic City, there is a high-end beauty SAP place, Phoenix City. But what ordinary people don't know is that there is an underground casino occupying a large area on the underground floor here. The second generation of Magic City who are interested in knowing about this place know this place very well, and it is very easy to find it. But today is different. Luxury cars are coming in an endless stream. The boss of Phoenix City had been greeted before, but looking at this scene, he still felt guilty. Zhang Chen led Li Hu towards the door. In his impression, the casino had always been relatively chaotic, so he took the bodyguards to reassure him. Just when he was about to enter the arena, Li Shang stopped him. "Brother Zhang, you are not allowed to bring bodyguards into the venue here. There have been fights between bodyguards before, and people were killed." "Is there such a thing?" Zhang Chen hesitated and realized that no one went in with any bodyguards. Then he said, "Okay, you are all like this, I don't want to be special. Li Hu, you go to the lobby and wait for me." Li Shang didn't say anything, and took Zhang Chen through several corners, passed an electronic equipment test, and entered the underground casino. The underground area is very large, with a height of 10 meters, and there is no depressing atmosphere at all. It also took a lot of effort to decorate, making it splendid and resplendent. The large golden chandelier is suspended in the sky, reflecting a faint light. The front desk is at the entrance. At this time, all kinds of gambling equipment were placed in an orderly manner. The dealer was standing nearby, and the original guests had been invited away. When Zhang Chen and Li Shang entered, they saw that except for the staff, they were all people who had appeared at the party before. Most people have started playing, but a few people have not moved. Brother Zhao Muyan and Yi Xing were looking for someone, while Yang Ning and a few people were talking quietly in secret. "Brother Yang, you said before that you weren't very good at drag racing. You are absolutely confident at the gambling table. Go up and teach Zhang Chen a lesson." "That's right. Nangong Ru and our group have been pursuing him for so long. That boy actually succeeded so quickly. There's an inside story. He must have used some tricks. So what if he got close to the Zhao family?" Yang Ning narrowed his eyes and nodded slowly. "You are right, but I am not in good condition today and have insufficient funds. Let's see. Brother Lu is also someone who hangs around here a lot. I believe there will be no problem at all if you go against Zhang Chen. How about that?" The male protagonist, known as Brother Lu 180, changed his expression and hesitated. "I'm not in a good state recently, so I'd better let someone else do it." The person who was seen pretended not to notice it, and after a short observation, there was also information. They have understood that Zhang Chen is definitely a wealthy owner. On the surface, he is a gold member, but there is a huge gap between gold members. The top gold members can barely be considered as junior platinum members. Once accumulated to a certain level, it is not difficult to break through the tens of billions mark. Jealousy and the passion of young people made them target Zhang Chen. Now there is a slight feeling of regret and unwillingness in my heart, and several people are trying to shirk each other. Yang Ning's expression changed, and suddenly he turned around and left, leaving behind a sentence. "I'm sick, I'll go out to play another day." Now that we have no further leverage, it is obviously irrational to fight against Zhang Chen's small circle alone. When I walked to the door, I happened to meet Wang Kongqing, who was also present in the morning. He immediately stood in the middle and blocked the way. "Isn't this Brother Yang? If you lose the racing, you won't play the betting anymore?" A smile appeared on Wang Kongqing's lips and he said, "If you don't want to do the target practice later, you just run away. This offline gathering will not be very enjoyable." Yang Ning was shocked and reluctantly said, "I have something to do temporarily, and you blocked my way." There was a blockage on the road here, which attracted some people's attention, especially because it involved Wang Kongqing, the son of King Jianlin. Yang Ning from the Yang family is not an unknown person in the circle. It's them. Wang Kongqing has been getting close to Li Shang and Zhao Muyan these days, and Yang Ning is going against them for some reason. Now we have something good to watch. We were racing in the club just now and lost 100 million. I guess it's because of Nangong Ru, but it seems like they can't beat Wang Kongqing. People around were talking in low voices. Some people were no worse than Yang Ning, and those from other provinces were not afraid of anything. They would leave after today anyway. Wang Kongqing stood in the middle of the road nonchalantly. With so many people watching, it was even more difficult for Yang Ning to lower her head. The people around didn't even play the gambling games, but just came over to watch the fun. Suddenly, a voice came. "Master Wang, I haven't found you just now. Fortunately, you made some noise." As the words fell, Zhao Muyan's brother and sister walked through the crowd. It is not suitable for girls to enter casinos, but Zhao Linger is also tough. According to her, in order to prevent her brother from going down the road of no return and getting into bad habits and ruining his family in the future, he will always be watched when he comes in. But the biggest weapon was to file a complaint. If Zhao Muyan didn't take her, she would tell her grandfather to go. On the other side, Yi Xing and Feng Jia appeared, as did Zhang Chen and Li Shang. At first glance, 7 people actually surrounded Yang Ning in the center. There were people on both sides of where he wanted to go. The 7 people were approaching slowly, and everyone onlookers took a few steps back in unison, which made it even more obvious. A thin layer of sweat broke out on Yang Ning's forehead, fearing that Zhou Kongking and the others would do something. Suddenly, Zhang Chen laughed and said, "Brother Zhao, Mr. Wang, and Brother Yi. Let's get a private room and go over to play. There are too many people and we haven't gathered together yet." Li Shang pointed to Yang Ning, who was surrounded by him. "Brother Zhang, what should we do with him? How about we beat him together to relieve his anger? He is very vengeful, even though he has already severely hit the other party, he doesn't mind if he comes a few times." Zhang Chen glanced at him and said, "I don't care about him. I don't dare to come. Maybe we will meet him in the future and let him go." Wang Kongking shrugged, he really didn't mean anything else just now. "I just wanted to ridicule and ask why I left so early, and it ended up like this." Zhang Chen and the other 7 people left as if no one was around, and even the chatter around them stopped for a moment. Yang Ning clenched and unclenched her fists in her sleeves, and walked out of the underground casino expressionlessly. Everyone dispersed one after another, commenting on what had just happened. "It's really boring. I can't watch the excitement. Let's continue playing cards. It's not easy to have such a chance to relax. Even if there is a fight, it will be an instant kill situation. 1 against 7 is of no use. There is still room for cooperation. Yes, let's continue playing. Jinhua, who will be the banker with a base bet of 100,000? I am the banker, with a limit of 1 million, but I don't have that much money to lose." Zhang Chen and the others couldn't hear the sounds behind them. The person in charge of the casino was watching the excitement secretly just now and knew the requirements of these owners. His subordinates have been arranged to do it, and the person in charge of the casino tidied up his clothes to welcome him. "Hello guys, the private box you requested has been prepared. What do you want to play?" Zhang Chen looked at Li Shang, Zhao Muyan and others. He could play anything and had no special requirements. Zhao Muyan glanced at his sister and said firmly, "Don't look at me, I'll follow you." Yi Xing curled his lips. "Then why don't we play Niu Niu or Fried Golden Flowers, and call a few outsiders, who are fast, and they can all participate. Playing landlords with too many people is very boring. Set the upper and lower limits." Wang Kongking chuckled and said, "Then according to what Brother Yi said, it wouldn't be a bad idea to call a few people in." The person in charge of the casino forced a smile on his face and said, "Please come this way, distinguished guests. The gambling equipment will be sent to you immediately. Do you need any other services?" "No need. If we really call for service, it will be miserable for someone to go back." Zhang Chen waved his hand. Everyone looked at Zhao Muyan intentionally or unintentionally, with smiles on their lips. It was obvious what he meant. Zhao Linger looked up at the sky and kept telling herself not to get involved in the discussion. The box in the underground casino is not small, with a rectangular gaming table, slot machines and other machines placed next to it. There are a lot of chairs, and there is also a table near the corner. I don't know what it is used for. The 7 people walked in and sat down separately. There was no dust on the table. Apparently someone was cleaning it from time to time. Several new boxes of playing cards that have not been opened are placed in the corner of the table. It was the first time that Zhao Linger came into a place like a casino. She looked around curiously and was curious about everything. She knew how to play mahjong, but she couldn't even understand other gambling equipment. She wanted to ask others, but she was worried that her brother would catch her. Zhao Linger suddenly said, "Humph, Zhao Muyan, do you know all the tools here? You carry Grandpa and the others on your back every day to a place like this, and now you're caught by me. What else do you have to say?" Zhao Muyan looked confused. "Linger, didn't we all agree before we came in? Just put this matter aside and I'll bring you here to play. You can't do this." "Me." Zhao Linger rolled her eyes. She wanted to understand these things, but she couldn't say it directly. Li Shang leaned over with a smile. "Sister Linger, you should do this. It's best to tell your elders." Before he finished speaking, Zhang Chen pulled him back. Stop fooling around. Brother Zhao will challenge you to a duel for 3 days and 3 nights later. Zhao Linger looked at Li Shang angrily, then suddenly ran to Zhang Chen and whispered something. After Zhang Chen heard this, he was slightly startled. Can't you just ask your brother? He should know more than me. I don't know much about some things. It's a simple and basic thing. I'm not looking for him. Zhao Linger whispered. I can't let my brother catch me. Brother Zhang, please remember to tell me. The two of them were talking about what they thought was serious business, but to others, it was obviously very ambiguous. Li Shang casually picked up a deck of cards and opened them. He opened them several times but failed to do so. His main focus was on Zhang Chen. At this moment, the person in charge of the casino knocked on the door and walked in. Bosses, how many chips do you need to exchange? Everyone looked at each other. Wang Kongking looked at the time and said, 10 million. After such a fuss, it was almost 3 o'clock and almost 4 o'clock. As long as the play was not too big, it was enough. Zhang Chen looked around and made a decision directly for everyone. Then all 7 of us will get 10 million. The person in charge of the casino nodded and left. Not long after, 7 beauties came in with 10 million chips in their hands. The money was settled when they left. Now, because of their status, they can have special privileges. Zhang Chen asked with a smile. The reputation is really good. Who will be the king? If not me. Brother Zhang, come here. I have no objection. At this time, Li Shang finally opened the cards and pushed them to Zhang Chen. Wang Kongkong and Zhao Muyan shook their heads. Okay. Seeing that the game was about to start, Zhao Linger quickly left her brother and sat next to Zhang Chen. Li Shang's eyes widened. It's over. Linger is going to fall for brother Zhang. Why can't I do it? I have to spend money to chase girls. Although I had a premonition before, I was still surprised when it actually happened. The most unbelievable person was Zhao Muyan. His face was complicated and he didn't know whether to stop him or not. Wang Kongking and Yi Xing secretly gave a thumbs up. If they take down Nangong Ru and obtain funds, they will reach the pinnacle of men. Zhang Chen raised his eyelids slightly and did not respond to these guys who were worried about the world being in chaos. He said, let's play Niu Niu first. Let's compare the big and small. The bottom bet is 100,000, and the upper limit is 1 million, okay? After saying that, he started dealing the cards directly without giving the other 5 people a chance to speak. Although Zhao Linger also had chips, she didn't make a bet to join in. That was just to blend in better and not look so special. While Zhang Chen was dealing cards to everyone, he was talking in a low voice with Zhao Linger, pointing out the cards from time to time. But from the perspective of the other 5 people, this is clearly a relationship that is heating up and may advance to the stage of being a couple at any time. Zhao Muyan had already looked at Zhang Chen with the eyes of his brother-in-law. He read it from beginning to end and found that Zhao Linger really wanted to be good with Zhang Chen. It seemed good. No matter in every aspect, the two of them were worthy. The Zhao family has a market value of over 10 billion, and Zhao Linger's status is a good match for Zhang Chen's gold membership status, which is not weak for platinum membership either. But Zhao Muyan still felt a little unhappy. His sister was fine and was suddenly snatched away. Even if he knew it would happen sooner or later, he still felt uncomfortable if it really happened. The atmosphere in the field changed subtly, and neither Zhang Chen nor Zhao Linger noticed it. Li Shang and Wang Kongking looked at each other a few times, then moved closer. Zhao Muyan was immediately isolated and conspicuous. Each of the 6 people had 5 and 30 cards. After Zhang Chen finished dealing them, he went on to explain to Zhao Linger what the algorithm was. Zhao Muyan suddenly said excitedly, Niu Niu, I'm betting on 200,000, give me double that. The sound was loud, and winning Zhang Chen's money made him inexplicably excited. Li Shang discussed with Wang Kongking in a low voice. This is the tribulation, the beginning of my uncle's troubles. Yi Xing shook his head and denied. Who is brother Zhang? How could he be made difficult by brother Zhao? Let's just watch the show. I'm awesome. Everyone showed their cards, and in the end only Zhang Chen, the dealer, was left without showing his cards. Zhao Linger helped get the cards, and she turned them over one by one while comparing them with others. Zhang Chen naturally heard Zhao Muyan's words and felt a little unhappy. He was so happy to win his money? Suddenly, Zhao Linger said excitedly, Brother Zhang, is this Niu? I'm so lucky. As she spoke, she laid out the 5 cards. Zhang Chen was slightly stunned. He thought he was destined to lose just now, but he didn't expect a reversal. A smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. Yes, Linger can do it this time. The dealer takes it all. Please bring your chips. Zhao Muyan's face turned from red to white. He snorted coldly, and pushed the chips over angrily. Zhao Linger gathered up the chips. She felt like she was reaping the rewards, and she smiled very happily, while Zhang Chen shuffled the cards and dealt them out. In the next few games, Zhang Chen held that it was okay to lose to Li Shang and the others, but he could not lose to Zhao Muyan. Both sides were smiling and competing secretly. Wang Kongking, Yi Xing and others just bought some melon seeds to eat, and then they could watch the excitement. Time passed slowly, and the 6 people won and lost, but Zhang Chen, the banker, still made a profit in the end. Others are competing 1-on-1, but he has a much higher chance of winning against 5-on-1. Later, Zhao Muyan started to press 1 million, because 100,000 really couldn't help much. And the result is that all his chips are given to the country. If you don't have any capital, you will naturally quit. Forget it. Let's not play anymore. It's not too early now. There's no chance of shooting and target shooting. How about dinner? In a private room in the underground casino, Zhang Chen and 7 others were sitting around. Zhao Muyan lost all his chips in front of him and suggested going out to eat. The scene suddenly stopped for a while. Hee. Li Shang squinted over and said, Brother Zhao couldn't have said this just because he lost all his money. You owed Brother Zhang some chips just now. If you don't go and exchange some, you won't be able to owe them. You'll forget about them later. Zhao Linger immediately retorted, Nonsense, how could my brother be such a person? He will give the chips to Zhang Fu later. You are all right. I will give the chips to Brother Zhang later. Zhao Muyan responded quietly. With that said, he really left to find the person in charge of the casino. Zhang Chen had a smile on his face. That little money was just a small change to those sitting here, 0.90. But it was mainly about the experience. He lowered his head and looked at the time. It was already 5:30. He was looking for a good hotel. It would be around 6 o'clock and he could go out for dinner. When Brother Zhao comes back, we will go out to eat. It will indeed be late. Wang Kongkong and the others nodded together. Okay, that's it. When Zhao Muyan exchanged 100 million chips and came over to prepare for revenge, he was stunned when he heard the news about going out for dinner. He was speechless. How could you do this? I still want to play a few games with Zhang Chen. Zhao Linger jumped up and reminded proudly. You are still playing, are you about to get addicted? I will file a complaint when you get back. If you lose, just lose. If you're still not convinced, be graceful. Hearing this, Zhao Muyan was speechless and didn't say anything at all. After he continued to talk and was accused, he would have to be grounded and given a lesson by his family. I had just exchanged 100 million chips, but when I turned around and exchanged them all again, the casino staff dealt with it with a weird look on their face. At this time, there were only a few members of the rich club still staying in the underground casino. Zhang Chen looked at the others. You are all locals. I'll leave it to you to find a place to eat. I won the big deal just now, so I'll treat you. With that said, he waved to Li Hu in the Phoenix City Hall. Follow these people's cars. Zhao Muyan rolled his eyes and said with a smile. Just follow me. There's a newly opened Wangfujing in Magic City. It is a 100% replica. Even the dishes are the same. I heard the chef is very good. I've been there a few times, but things are a bit expensive. If you are disappointed in the casino, you should order more food to make up for it. Zhang Chen shrugged. You can lead the way, but money is nothing to me. No matter what he eats in the Magic City, the price will not exceed 1 million at most, which is less than 1/10 of his daily income. What's more, I just made money in the casino and got Yang Ning's 100 million. It would be easy to let Zhao Muyan vent his anger, and everyone would be hurt. If he didn't eat well, he would be unhappy first. Li Hu remained silent and drove the Rolls-Royce over. He asked Zhang Chen to get in the car and waited. Zhao Muyan did as he said. The car passed through several secluded places and came to a place that was more like a garden than a hotel. It has 3 big characters, Wangfujing, written on it. No one is carrying it, so it is difficult to find this place. After Zhang Chen got off the car, he asked Li Hu to finish the dinner by himself. His wages were paid on time and could be reimbursed later. Before the 7 of them could walk inside, the waiter from outside the hotel came running from a distance. "Gentlemen, please come in. Do you have a reservation?" "I haven't made a reservation. Is there anyone in box number 8? If not, just box number 8. Zhao Muyan shook his head slightly. The waiter said respectfully, "No one is here, go this way." Everyone sat down in the private room, because Zhang Chen had said before that he would pay, and the menu would naturally be delivered to him. Zhang Chen glanced at it twice, then handed the menu to Zhao Muyan and said, "Brother Zhao, how many times have you eaten here? When you come to order, you just want delicious food, and the price comes second." "Okay, you're welcome then." Zhao Muyan took the menu. The waiter hurriedly ran behind him, holding a small notebook in his hand to record the dishes. "If you don't want a few here, you can get a copy of the others. This is the most expensive one. Everyone should get 2 copies. One is not enough. Red wine and champagne, the most expensive and best, bring me 6 bottles. That's it for now, I'll add more later." The waiter's face was numb. When Zhao Muyan finished ordering, he took away the menu. He had already memorized what he didn't want. After the chef remembers the dishes, the group will return. Li Shang sits on the left of Zhang Chen and on the right of Zhao Linger, who used to be Zhao Muyan. I could barely hear what was said over there, but I could still clearly see the shocked look on the waiter's face. Li Shang whispered, "Brother Zhang, Zhao Muyan must be thinking of killing you. It must be the first time that the waiter ordered food so harshly, and his expression changed. You might as well give some to Zhao Linger, you can give it to me too." Zhang Chen waved his hands with a smile and said, "It's okay, just eat, just spend a little more money, it's worth it." "It's really too much. Linger will also stop her brother." Li Shang's eyes lit up and he started gossiping. "Brother Zhang, how far has your relationship with Linger progressed? When will you have the wedding banquet? What will happen to Nangong Ru? You don't want to be in 2 different situations, because you might get nothing in the end." Zhao Linger's face turned red first and she puffed up her cheeks. "Li Shang, what are you talking about? I'll let my brother duel with you. Is Nangong Ru as good looking as me? Have you forgotten the miserable experience of being taught a lesson by him again?" Li Shang rolled his eyes, thinking that he would say less and make fewer mistakes. He didn't say a word, and the other party's brother was present, so he wisely did not make an argument. Seeing that he was timid, Zhao Linger looked at Zhang Chen subconsciously. She thought to herself, "What Li Shang said just now makes sense. Nangong Ru seemed to be interested before, but she didn't say it clearly. Does this all involve me?" Zhang Chen looked at Zhao Muyan and found that he was eavesdropping. Changing the subject, he said, "Brother Zhao, if you want to know, just ask me directly. There's no need to be so sneaky." Zhao Muyan quickly sat upright and covered his mouth with one hand. I don't want to know, wait until Linger says it himself. Where is the sneakiness?" Zhao Linger puffed up her cheeks. "Humph, brother, eavesdropping is not a good habit. Besides, I won't tell you what was said. If you don't think of anything, just go back and chat with your grandfather and father. They haven't chatted with you for a long time." After such an interruption, all 4 people forgot about the topic just now. Zhang Chen smiled proudly, he was still witty. However, Li Shang, who caused these things, is not a good person. When Zhao Muyan heard what his sister said, his face turned bitter. He was very upset, thinking about how to persuade his sister, because he didn't want to be dragged into chatting. He thought again and again, it was all Zhang Chen's fault. If he had to tell him, he would be safe now if he didn't tell him. It seems that the way I ordered before was correct. I had to add some dishes halfway through the meal. Yi Xing, Feng Jia and Wang Kongking were eating cold dishes and drinking tea, not paying much attention to their gossip. Because the 3 of them knew that eventually a big mouth would reveal the news. Just as a few people were having fun, outside the box, someone knocked on the door and walked in. The person who came in was followed by 5 waiters and 6 bottles of champagne and red wine. "Please be patient, New Zealand lobster, Kobe Wagyu beef, caviar, swan gras, king crab, and Chiba wine are all here. There are 11 more dishes on the way. Do you need the chef to come over and open the bottle to sober up the wine?" "That's a bit too much." Wang Kongking sighed and waved his hand. "Master, no need. I know how to sober up, just give me the tools." He looked at the audience. "Isn't there anyone who doesn't drink?" Zhang Chen patted Li Shang on the shoulder and said with a smile, "Pour it all, you can drink it. Brother Li, Have a few more drinks with me later, don't go too far. The wine and food are not enough for now, you can order more now. After hearing this, the waiter who originally planned to leave waited for a while, but when no one spoke, he reluctantly left. Wang Kongking opened 4 bottles of wine in a row. After waking up, everyone poured a large glass. Li Shang grimaced. Young Master Wang, the wine you poured for me is a bit too much. I feel it's unbalanced. It's getting better soon. Brother Yang's cups are fewer than mine. Listening to him complaining like a little daughter-in-law, Zhang Chen glanced sideways. Okay, since you said so, I'll switch with you. Li Shang was a little embarrassed. After exchanging wine glasses, he had nothing to say. Zhao Muyan suddenly stood up and said, it's hard for everyone to get together this time. Let's have a drink first and try what I ordered. This face should still be given. Several people stood up and saluted from a distance, because it was not the elders who were toasting, but everyone of the same age. It was just a symbolic sip, not all the drinks. If the elder comes in person and the other party does as he pleases, the junior will have to drink the whole cup. The 7 people sat down and started eating. Zhang Chen stared at Li Shang, and Zhao Muyan looked at him again. Zhao Linger warned her brother with her eyes. Looking at it, Yi Xing even forgot to eat, and did not move his chopsticks for the delicious food that passed by in front of his eyes. Fortunately for Wang Kongkong, although he is very curious, he still eats when he should. Not long after, Zhang Chen raised his wine glass and said to Li Shang with a smile, come on, brother Li, thank you for winning that game. Without you, I still wouldn't be able to get the 100 million from Yang Ning. The money has already been sent to you. I need to drink more of this wine. Li Shang was slightly stunned, and subconsciously clinked glasses with Zhang Chen. He hadn't looked at his phone yet and didn't know about this. Zhang Chen drank it in one gulp, then lowered the glass and signaled to the other party with his eyes. Young man, if you dared to find trouble for me before, I will drink you to death. Not long after he won the game, he transferred the hard-earned money to the opponent's account, and didn't say anything until then. Li Shang looked at the empty wine glass with a bitter look on his face. Brother Zhang, you've finished all this in one gulp. Can I save a sip and drink it slowly? Haha, do you think it's okay? Zhang Chen smiled broadly. Li Shang rolled his eyes, drank twice, and finished the wine in the glass. You are cruel. Casually, he imitated Zhang Chen and gestured downwards at the empty wine glass. Wang Kongkong picked up an unsealed bottle of wine and said, Brother Zhang and Brother Li have a good capacity for drinking. I'll fill it up for you. After saying that, without waiting for the two of them to react, he directly poured wine for them. This time, both sides were equal, and his eyes looked at Zhao Muyan intentionally or unintentionally. Zhao Muyan immediately stood up and said, Brother Zhang, you were very lucky just now. Come on, let me toast you. Zhang Chen shook his head helplessly, coming to confront him. Aren't you going to suffer in the end? Zhang Chen didn't give in. He turned around and had a drink with Zhao Muyan, and Kongking was the one pouring the wine the whole time. Li Shang was moved by what he saw and wanted to take advantage of the situation, so he stepped forward to pay respect. Before he could implement it, Zhao Muyan finished a drink and continued. Brother Zhang, let's have a few more drinks to connect with each other. As they went back and forth, Zhang Chen would drink as much as he could, and Li Shang would come over for a drink occasionally, almost one-on-one. Zhao Linger couldn't help it anymore. She smiled and said, Brother, we haven't drank for a long time. I'm not allowed to drink too much at home. It's okay to go outside now. Let's walk a few laps. 6 bottles of wine, except for the first glass at the beginning, all the rest were consumed by 4 people. The good party turned into a drinking party, and Wang Kongking had no choice but to call for 6 more bottles of wine, and at the same time, he said something in the gap to liven up his emotions. Zhang Chen went to Li Shang, while Zhao Muyan and his sister Zhao Linger drank. Among the 7 people, the first one to fall was Zhao Muyan. He looked very strong and capable of drinking, but he was empty-handed. Yi Xing ran out of ideas. Young Master Wang, should we open the door? Just now the waiter said that there are still 5 dishes that have not been served. I don't think so. This is obviously a good opportunity for revenge, Feng Jia said with a smile. Wang Kongking said innocently, I just sobered up and poured wine for them. It's okay. Brother Zhang and Zhao Linger will calm down when Li Shang goes down. In the end, things did not go beyond Wang Kongking's expectations. After Zhao Muyan fell, Zhao Linger and Zhang Chen took turns coming up to drink from Li Shang. Li Shang's mind was already blinded by alcohol, and he couldn't hold on for a few minutes. I can still drink, Brother Zhang, and Zhao Linger, please don't waver and continue drinking. Okay. Zhang Chen just felt dizzy, not unconscious yet. He watched Li Shang fall down and sneered. I asked you to find trouble for me, now it's okay, and Brother Zhao Muyan. If you have nothing to do, you have to come over and provoke me. Linger, do you think I'm pregnant? Zhao Linger nodded subconsciously. Brother Zhang, you were right, I'm going to call the driver at home, it's getting dark. Seeing the two people who had fallen down and the two people who were not quite sure of their situation, Wang Kongking and the others began to have a headache. The four of us were drinking and eating, and it was already 8 o'clock. Yi Xing circled his head. What should we do now? Brother Zhang has brought the driver over, so don't worry about it for now. The Zhao brothers and sisters came by themselves and called their housekeeper. We won't be able to see Brother Zhao tomorrow, but Linger may still be able to see him. Li Shang threw him in the hotel and told him later, if he can't remember, forget it. After Yi Xing made this analysis, Wang Kongking and Feng Jia, who were still awake, immediately looked at the Zhao brothers and sisters. Wang Kongking asked uncertainly, what should we do? Can we open 2 rooms for them and deal with them for one night? He used himself as an example. Even if he didn't go home for 10.5 days, nothing would happen. As long as you don't cause any trouble and people can be contacted, that's fine. I don't know about this, why don't I ask them for their opinions? Yi Xing suggested in distress. Feng Jia stepped forward directly. Brother Zhao, Linger, are you two sleeping in a hotel or going home? Not surprisingly, he didn't get any response, but Li Shang on the other side was still mumbling about drinking. Yi Xing curled his lips and said, drink, keep drinking. When you wake up tomorrow, you will know whether you want to drink or not. Ignore the 4 of them for now, let's eat well. Maybe we can sober up later. This reason was very strong, and Feng Jia and Wang Kongking agreed immediately. At 8:30, Zhang Chen suddenly frowned and raised his head in a daze. He shook his head continuously, sobered up, and asked, have you eaten well? You can take it out after eating. Call the waiter over, and I will pay the bill. Wang Kongking and the other 3 nodded silently, and not long after, the waiter came running over with a credit card machine. This meal cost 180,000 yuan, and the bulk of it was consumed by 12 bottles of champagne and red wine. All the other ingredients added up only accounted for less than half. In a daze, Zhang Chen called Li Hu, but he couldn't remember much of what happened next. In the end, he seemed to be lying in a warm and soft embrace. The Zhao brothers and sisters finally called the housekeeper themselves. Looking at the housekeeper's dark expression, they thought that tomorrow would not be easy. Li Shang took care of it casually, opened a room in a nearby hotel, and then left one after another. The next day, at 10 o'clock in the morning, the sun was shining high. Li Shang, who was in the hotel next to Wang Fujing, covered the back of his head and opened his eyes. Hey, it hurts. Who beat me up yesterday? It couldn't be that guy Zhao Muyan, right? I was drinking with Brother Zhang yesterday, and then Zhao Muyan fell down, and so did I. What happened next? He thought about it, but couldn't remember it, so he ran out and asked the staff outside. A few minutes later, Li Shang walked back to the room. 2 men threw me on the bed and left directly? No, I'll ask Brother Zhang first. He's still standing after I fell, he should know better. He called immediately, but no one answered the first call, so he continued to call. At this time, in the Peninsula Hotel, in the presidential suite. Zhang Chen was sleeping in a daze when he heard a call coming in and pressed the button based on his feeling. But the phone kept ringing. After the 5th ring, Zhang Chen was finally woken up, got up and opened his eyes. His eyes were slightly in a trance, looking ahead without moving. Hearing the noise, Lu Yifei, who came from the kitchen, looked at this scene and was a little at a loss. She had never seen such a thing before. She picked up her little hand and shook it carefully. Brother Zhang, are you okay? You just drank too much yesterday. You can recover after waking up and eating something. Are you okay? Zhang Chen still didn't speak, but Li Shang's phone rang for the 6th time, and he suddenly picked up the phone. Hey, what are you doing if you don't sleep? Brother Zhang, do you still remember what happened last night? Forgot. Zhang Chen hung up the phone and his expression gradually returned to normal. He looked at Lu Yifei and said, "Who sent me back yesterday?" "It was the very strong driver. He said that you and some friends were drunk, but the other 3 people who were drinking were also drunk. There are 3 others who haven't drank, they will handle the rest." "Is that so? You're taking advantage of those guys?" Zhang Chen muttered and asked, "Yifei, have you packed your things?" "And that Sister Li, she can go to Nanchang first, and you can come with me." Lu Yifei was overjoyed. "It's been done a long time ago. I asked Sister Li to go today. Where will she wait for us in Nanchang?" Zhang Chen rubbed his temples. "I'll send you a seat later." "We won't be setting off today. Wait for me to wait. It's hard for our friends here in Shanghai to leave without saying goodbye. Can you wait?" He has a good drinking capacity, but the stamina of red wine should not be underestimated. A headache affects his thoughts. Lu Yifei quickly ran behind him and massaged him to relieve his physical and mental stress. On the other hand, he said, "Brother Zhang, as long as you can remember this." Li Sheng, who was lying in the hotel room, did not receive such treatment. He looked at the phone that he hung up immediately after saying something, his mouth bulging subconsciously. "If you don't know, just say you don't know. What are you doing so fiercely? I'll ask Brother Zhao or Sister Ling." Li Sheng started his great career of making phone calls. If his head started to hurt, he would bear it. But the 2 brothers and sisters allowed him to call for nearly half an hour, but they still couldn't get through because their mobile phones were sealed. Zhao Linger was still sleeping, but Zhao Muyan had been pulled up. His father Zhao Zheng is scolding him, and after a while, his grandfather will come over and say it. "If I had known better, I wouldn't have had a drinking contest with Zhang Chen. My sister had to stop me, but after listening to her instigation, I actually started drinking with her. When I got home, nothing happened to her, and I was miserable." Zhao Muyan lamented in his heart, and finally blamed his sister and Zhang Chen for getting drunk. Suddenly, Zhao Zheng asked, "Mu Yan, you drank 400 yuan last night, who did you get drunk with?" Zhao Muyan was thinking about something and didn't notice this. He subconsciously replied, "It's all because of Linger. If she hadn't moved, I wouldn't have been so drunk." Isn't this an obvious hint? Zhao Zheng turned around and planned to sneak away. "Come back." Mr. Zhao appeared behind Zhao Muyan and called Zhao Zheng at the same time. The expressions of father and son changed and they came back obediently. When Mr. Zhao was about to speak, Zhao Linger suddenly came over. "Grandpa, you are all here. Zhang Chen invited me and my brother to drink last night. My brother wanted to drink Zhang Chen down. I was trying to make good friends with Zhang Chen, so I stopped him. I accidentally drank too much. Please be careful next time." Hearing this, Zhao Zheng secretly praised that his daughter was still smart. "Linger did a good job. I won't talk about you this time. Mu Yan, your problem is very serious." Mr. Zhao turned around. "You actually drank your own sister down. Doesn't it feel like a sense of accomplishment?" Zhao Muyan's eyes widened and he hesitated to speak. How could it suddenly become his fault again? Zhang Chen was drinking porridge at this time while enjoying Lu Yifei's massage, which was indescribably comfortable. It was completely unexpected that Zhao Muyan would be severely reprimanded at this time because of him. And after he sobers up, he will be banned for 5 days. In the Peninsula Hotel, Zhang Chen finished breakfast and took a rest. It was almost noon. At this time, he also remembered what happened at dinner last night. Of course, the subsequent memories were very blurry because his brain was not working well at that time. "I only know that they were drunk together by Zhao Muyan and Li Shang, but neither of them fell into the trap." Lu Yifei was cleaning up the room, preparing to take away some cosmetics and other things when the time came. At the same time, he handed Zhang Chen's dirty clothes last night to the hotel attendant for cleaning. She wouldn't dare clean clothes worth tens of thousands of yuan at will. It would be better to leave them to professionals. Suddenly, Lu Yifei turned around and asked, "Brother Zhang, I remembered, didn't we buy 2 cars? What should we do with those 2 Rolls Royces? You just brought a driver here, it's time to call a driver." Zhang Chen waved his hand slightly. "No, Li Hu is mainly a bodyguard and part-time a driver. I can just find someone to take care of those 2 cars. The people I have met in the past few days can also be used." As he said this, he suddenly remembered that the sales manager Han Siying who sold him the car seemed to have said that he could contact her if he had any needs. Later, because there were too many choices, seeing was not particularly outstanding, so she forgot about it. I wanted to get rid of the car today, so I just remembered. That figure and appearance were considered acceptable back then, and I wonder if the business card is still there. There's also Xiao Yu. As his exclusive driver for the 390, it's no big deal that he drives a Rolls-Royce in the club every day. If you bring it back to Liancheng, you can train the secretary. If something happens, let the secretary handle it. If nothing happens. Lu Yifei waved his palm in front of Zhang Chen. Brother Zhang, what are you thinking about? Are you so distracted? It's not like there are other women in Magic City, and you're thinking about them, right? When Zhang Chen heard this, he raised his eyebrows slightly and turned around, not denying anything. If you dare to make trouble with him, you will be thrown into the cold palace immediately. He is not married, so you dare to control him? Lu Yifei looked into Zhang Chen's eyes, his body trembled, and he said quickly, Brother Zhang, I didn't mean anything else, I just said it casually, I have no objection to whatever you want to do. Next time, I will stop talking nonsense. Whatever you say will be whatever you say. Yes. Zhang Chen nodded with satisfaction and raised the other person's chin with one finger. I like to hear this. I don't need you to explain what I want to do. Go get the business card I received before. Another one. The address of Nancheng Tiancheng Real Estate has been sent to your mobile phone. Now you can notify Li Xin to wait for me. Lu Yifei nodded repeatedly. Okay, I'll tell you later. She helped Zhang Chen change his clothes these days, and he had many business cards in his pocket. Most of them were handed over by some big shots at parties, and some bosses who could get on the stage made friends with him, while Li Shang and others added him as friends directly. Soon, more than 30 business cards were placed on the table, including the business cards of group CEOs such as Zhao Zheng, Yi Leguo, Chen Shikong, etc. Zhang Chen glanced at them and ignored them. Those he didn't recognize or had no impression of were thrown away on the spot. Not long after, he found a business card with a phone number written on it. It was Han Xiang's business card. Lu Yifei wisely left at this time, sat on the sofa far away, and turned around to clean up the room. She had already thought of this scene before, but she didn't expect it to happen so soon. Zhang Chen didn't call the printed work number, but directly called his personal number. The ringtone rang and he was connected immediately. Han Xiying's voice sounded. Hello, who are you? You forgot about me so quickly, and you promised to meet any of my needs? Zhang Chen teased. Ah! Han Xiying exclaimed. The voice was very familiar. Are you Mr. Zhang? You haven't contacted me for several days, and I can't even take the initiative to contact you? Listening to the resentful tone, a smile appeared on Zhang Chen's lips. I'm not contacting you now, I was quite busy before. If you have time today, come out for a meal and help me do something. Han Xiying's mind stirred. This was eating and then doing something. Did it have a deeper meaning, or was it just a superficial meaning? Do you want to agree directly, or do you want to give in half-heartedly, so as not to appear so casual? The other party is a rich man. What kind of woman would he like? Seeing that the other party didn't reply for a long time, Zhang Chen asked, No time. If not, forget it, I'll find someone else. Get up. Yes. Han Xiang came back to her senses and said quickly, Mr. Zhang, tell me where and when. I will definitely go there on time. She had a feeling that after losing this opportunity, she would have no interaction with Zhang Chen in the future. If you want to sit in a Rolls-Royce, it is even farther away. Zhang Chen thought for a while. Well, it will be near the Bund. At 5 o'clock in the evening, you add me as a friend and I will book a place. Han Xiying responded obediently. Okay. The two ended the call, and Han Xiying kept giggling while holding the phone for 3 minutes. In the Rolls-Royce 4S store, a salesperson passed by. He immediately walked over and waved his arm in front of her eyes a few times. Sister Han, what good thing happened to you and made you so happy? Do you want to share it? Sister Han was on the phone just now, and then she smiled so happily. Could it be that some lucky guy is about to marry Sister Han home? Yes, my sister had a gloomy expression on her face the past 2 days. The surrounding female colleagues quickly gathered around and they were chattering. Han Xiying's face turned red. Go, why'd I have to tell you any good things? I'm not getting married. Hurry up and get to work. If a guest comes in and you don't receive them, you will be rewarded. The power of these words was so great that everyone who gathered sighed and left, except for two people who were pulled to stay. They were the two colleagues who delivered the car with Han Siying last time. The two of them asked a little strangely, "Sister Han, what's wrong?" Han Siying said excitedly, "Today is my lucky day. The boss who bought 2 Rolls-Royces last time contacted me. I thought he had forgotten." Then he asked, "Do you think my current clothes are suitable? And do I need to change my makeup on my face?" Her two colleagues gave their opinions one after another without any hesitation. "Really? I told you that you can definitely do it. Sister Han, you are a famous beauty and you look good in anything you wear, but this dress is not open enough and there is nothing wrong with the makeup on your face." The two of them have made a good plan. They have made good friends with Han Siying now, and when she is promoted by the big boss, she will leak something to them later, and then she will fly directly to the branches. "Ah, isn't this dress good? I'll change it into a new one later. Do you want to spray some perfume on it? Also, remember to remind me about the strawberry-flavored lipstick, don't forget it." After hearing the two people's suggestions, Han Siying immediately looked left and right, attaching great importance to the evening meeting. The three people ignored the matters in the store for the time being, but gathered together to make suggestions. At 6 o'clock in the evening, a taxi stopped outside the Regal Hotel on the Bund. A beautiful woman got out of the back seat of the taxi. She was wearing a royal blue V-shaped dress, with light makeup on her face, and a small bag slung across her shoulders. The exposed skin is as white as snow, exuding a quiet and elegant temperament. After settling the fare with the taxi driver, she took out her small mirror to look at her makeup and smiled with satisfaction. Just as I was about to walk into the hotel, 2 waiters came out to greet me. "Hello madam, what do you need?" Han Siying raised her head proudly. "Well, I have a reservation for box number 8. The guests in it haven't come yet, right?" The 2 waiters became more respectful after hearing this. "Madam, please come inside and be careful of the steps. The guests in box number 8 haven't arrived yet." Hearing this, Han Siying was relieved. Zhang Chen told her it was around 6:15, and she didn't dare to let Zhang Chen wait for her. The location of box 8 is the best and most expensive in the Regal Hotel. When you get up and look outside, you can see the roaring Yangjiang River, which is also large in area. Han Siying turned around 2 or 3 times, sat on the chair and waited quietly. Zhang Chen said he arrived at 6:15, but he didn't enter the hotel until 6:30. Han Siying said resentfully, "Mr. Zhang, you are here and I have been waiting for you for a long time. How are you lately?" Zhang Chen smiled and nodded. "It's okay. Let's not talk about anything else. I'll go in after dinner if I have something to do." "Waiter, take your order. The private room is large, but there are only 2 people eating, so it feels a bit strange to sit far away." So, Han Siying naturally sat next to Zhang Chen, leaning towards her intentionally or unintentionally, and the smell of lipstick spread in the air. Zhang Chen's heart moved slightly, and he handed over the menu casually. "You can order, no need to save." "Ah, okay." Han Siying took it obediently, but she knew that some rich people hated others' disobedience. 2 people ordered 5 dishes, but ordered 3 bottles of red wine. Zhang Chen's mouth twitched, and he said helplessly, "We have serious business to discuss later. Come and drink. I'll replace the wine with tea." He had just gotten over the energy after drinking with Li Shang and others, and he didn't want to get into trouble again in the short term. Han Siying's eyes flashed with joy. "Okay, Mr. Zhang, don't lose to me in drinking tea." She had already decided. After a few drinks, she pretended to be faint and took the initiative to send it to her door. Anyway, there was no shortage of rooms here and they could be opened at any time. Zhang Chen waved his hand. "It seems awkward to call me Mr. Zhang. It's not during working hours. If you don't mind, you can call me Brother Zhang. Everyone else calls me the same way." "Okay, please take care of Brother Zhang from now on," Han Siying said with a smile. The food hasn't been served yet, only a few cold dishes are on the table. Zhang Chen took 2 bites and asked, "Didn't I buy 2 Rolls-Royce Phantoms from you before? I plan to sell them in the next few days. Do you have any channels? If I don't want to sit still, if I take action, how long will it take for the funds to arrive?" "What, Brother Zhang, are you going to sell those 2 Rolls-Royces?" Han Siying was shocked. "I just bought this a few days ago, right?" According to the travel restrictions in Shanghai, the 2 Rolls-Royces were driven twice at most. It can be opened during the day and early morning when no one is patrolling, but there are certain risks. Zhang Chen responded nonchalantly. Yes, I said it was a mobility scooter when I bought it, and it can be replaced quickly. Han Xing didn't speak for a while, only feeling a wave of trench air coming towards her face. After this change of hands, the two cars were reduced to second-hand cars, and the losses were difficult to calculate. The key is that the owner didn't care about it at all. Riding in a Rolls-Royce is one of her life goals. Han Xing explained with difficulty. Brother Zhang, if you sell it, I can help you find a channel. It doesn't matter if you are in a hurry to get the funds. If you are not in a hurry, the price can be higher at auction, but the price will be lower when you buy it. Zhang Chen shook his head. It doesn't matter, there's no need to bother with an auction, just sell it directly. If there is anyone willing to buy it, sell it. If you can't sell it, forget it. He didn't have that much time to waste. The worst he could do was find a place to put one of them to collect dust, and give the other one to Xiaoyu. Anyway, Xiaoyu already has the meat in his mouth, so he can eat it whenever he wants. While the two were discussing, the hotel staff knocked on the door. 6 staff members walked in, and 5 dishes and 3 bottles of wine were placed in front of the two of them. As soon as the staff went out, Han Xing picked up the chopsticks and gave Zhang Chen something to eat. Brother Zhang, eat more, this is their special dish. I've always wanted to come to this regal hotel, but I didn't dare to move after seeing their prices. Thank you very much this time. As she spoke, she poured herself a full glass of red wine, and the two of them leaned very close. Zhang Chen had a drink and watched Han Xing up close, looking down from her face. Sure enough, the judgment last time was correct. This kind of food falls into the category of snacks and is not a good choice as a staple food. Thinking of this, he picked up the teacup and clinked glasses with the other party frequently. Both of them drank quickly. Although the red wine in this hotel is not as good as that in Wangfujing, it is still at the level of 5,000 bottles, and its stamina is not too great. Brother Zhang, take your car to the shop tomorrow or whenever, and I promise to get the results within 3 days. Halfway through the drink, Han Xing assured Zhang Chen. Zhang Chen nodded slightly. Okay, I'll let the driver handle this tomorrow. An hour later, the 3 bottles of red wine on the dining table were all gone. Han Xing was dizzy and crawled on top of Zhang Chen. His face was very rosy, his eyes were hazy, and his thoughts were intermittent. Han Xing suddenly whispered, Zhang, brother Zhang, let's go to the room and sleep. It's getting late. Okay, it'll be ready soon. Zhang Chen waved to the waiter to pay. When the waiter saw this scene, he pretended not to know anything and settled according to normal procedures. Han Xing looked very drunk, but she only staggered a little as she walked. She remained sober and knew what the purpose of tonight was. The next day, at 10 o'clock in the morning, the sun rose high. But this time, Zhang Chen was not disturbed by the sun's rays, and all the curtains were tightly drawn by him. It was guaranteed that not a beam of light could shine in, and both Han Xing and him slept deeply. Until 12 o'clock at noon, Zhang Chen was in good physical condition and woke up first, while Han Xing was still sleeping. I couldn't help but sigh. It's almost 12 o'clock, sure enough, the spring night is short and the sun is rising. From now on, the king will not go to court early. This is life. It's so hard to work to and from get off work every day. After sighing for a few times, Zhang Chen moved for a while and suddenly found that his stomach was empty and he was a little hungry. Han Xing on the bed also woke up in a daze at this time, and she saw Zhang Chen looking at her at a glance. His face turned red. Brother Zhang, what are you looking at? What time is it now, 977, and it's still so dark? Zhang Chen explained. Nothing, it's 12 o'clock noon, get up and go have dinner. As he spoke, he opened the curtains next to the floor-to-ceiling windows, and the dazzling sunlight shone in, making the room much brighter. After the two had a relationship, they became obviously much closer. Okay, right away. Han Xing finished washing, dressed up briefly, and went to eat Chinese food while holding Zhang Chen's hand. It's just that when I walk, my body feels a little unnatural. After eating, Han Xing still felt a little uncomfortable. After all, yesterday was the first time in her life and she wanted to rest. Brother Zhang, I want to go home and sleep. As for the car, you can have someone drive it to the store and I'll arrange for someone to take care of it. 11. Within 3 days, the results will definitely be given, and generally speaking, they can be sold, okay? Han Xing said with a pitiful expression. Then you go back and rest. If you can't sell it, don't force it. Zhang Chen replied with a smile. He knew the condition of his car. If it wasn't really inconvenient, he would have directly arranged for someone to drive it back to Nanchang. But in Nanchang, he had a better car, and when he drove back, he was in a state of exhaustion. Han Siying went back to rest. Zhang Chen thought about it and called Li Hu. Drive the two cars from the hotel to the Rolls-Royce 4S store in the center of the city. They know the situation there and I have made arrangements. Li Hu was slightly stunned, but without asking any more questions, he said respectfully, "Okay, boss, do you have any other instructions?" "You do this first." Zhang Chen hung up the phone and started contacting Ji Jin, Zhao Muyan and others. After all, we are friends now, and we still have to say hello when we leave. The first ones contacted were Zhao Muyan's brother and sister, but there was no response. They are usually not slow in replying to messages. Could something have happened? Zhang Chen approached Yi Xing. "Brother Yi, do you know what's going on with brother Zhao and Linger? They haven't been able to contact them." Yi Xing replied, "Hey, don't worry about them. Zhao Linger should be able to come out soon. As for Zhao Muyan, it depends on his luck. If he is unlucky, he will lose contact in 10.5 days." As he spoke, he gave a very embarrassed smile, a very happy one. Zhang Chen's heart was moved. Is it because of drinking or playing cards? The only things that happened to them recently were drinking and playing cards. The two were a little out of line, and they were all related to him. But looking at Yi Xing's expression, at most he was a little bit unlucky, but nothing else. Zhang Chen smiled and said, "Okay, I'm going back to Nanchang in the next few days, and there are still things waiting for me to deal with in the company. Now let me say hello to you." "What, you're going back?" Yi Xing was a little surprised and began to persuade him to stay. "Magic City is so fun. Let's play for a few days. That target practice and other projects, you haven't experienced it yet. Why are you leaving so early?" "Brother, I still wanted to take you to the heaven and earth to enjoy the fun of being a king on earth, but I was delayed because of Zhao Linger. Don't leave yet, just have some fun before leaving," Yi Xing said, and began to contact other people. Li Shang, Feng Jia, and Zhu Kongqing soon knew they were going back. They also tried their best to notify Zhao Muyan brother and sister. Li Shang and Yi Xing began to discuss taking Zhang Chen to play in the heaven and earth. As for the Zhao Muyan brothers and sisters, they would not take them. The main reason is that something will happen if you take two people with you. The four of them don't have so many rules and regulations. Yi Xing. How about the top deck in heaven and earth tomorrow night? Feng Jia. No objection. Li Shang. Don't tell brother Zhao about this. Be careful he challenges you to a duel. Li Shang. Call a few more beautiful chicks, they can sing well, but I won't tell anyone. Wang Kongqing. Let's settle it like this. Let's go find brother Zhang. We've been here for the past few days. It doesn't matter if we play for a while longer. When four people sent him a message together, inviting him to go to heaven and earth, Zhang Chen was a little helpless, but he was also very happy, because they regarded him as a friend. "It seems like someone has been left out here," Zhang Chen asked directly. "It's okay to go play tomorrow night, but don't we bring brother Zhao?" "No," the four people agreed. Li Shang came out and explained, "Brother Zhang, the five of us can go. Zhao Muyan is under strict control by his old man and cannot go. And if he goes, his sister will definitely follow him. Tomorrow at noon, the seven of us will get together to have a meal and play in the evening. That place is very cool." Zhang Chen suddenly realized that the name, Heaven and Earth, matched several people's descriptions, and he could roughly guess where it was. It was a top-notch place and not suitable for girls to enter. Zhao Muyan is dead. At the same time, in the Zhao family, Zhao Linger was puffing up her cheeks and talking to her grandfather. Her brother Zhao Muyan stood behind him, looking down at the ground. "You said that Zhang Chen is going back to Nanchang, and you two want to go out to see him off?" Mr. Zhao muttered. "Linger, if you want to go, just go directly. As for Mu Yan, his temperament is still too impetuous. That means he is older and needs more training." The implication was that he disagreed, and Zhao Muyan was about to raise his head to contradict him. 5.8 Zhao Linger said with a smile. "Grandpa is right, but it's right to give Zhang Chen a gift when he goes back. After all, he is a friend. Otherwise, I will give my brother a day off tomorrow, and when he comes back, he will be grounded for twice as long." Mr. Zhao raised his eyebrows. "That's not bad, Mu Yan, What do you think? Zhao Muyan's expression turned bitter, and he said with resentment in his heart, I think it's okay, but my sister has more options. Then if you want to go out tomorrow, you can go out. You can also walk around as you like this afternoon. Mr. Zhao said with a smile. The goal has been achieved, and the two brothers and sisters left together. Only Zhao Muyan was unhappy, feeling that he had suffered a big loss again, and the suspension time was doubled for nothing. Zhao Linger didn't give any explanation for this, but the other party kept preventing her from talking to Zhang Chen. Play more at home to cultivate your temper. After Zhang Chen and Li Shang made an agreement, they returned to the Peninsula Hotel and booked flights for themselves, Li Hu and Lu Yifei for the day after tomorrow. This time he went back without telling anyone and planned to make a surprise inspection of the company. See how the employees are doing at work when the boss is not in the company. The two Rolls-Royces were also disposed of and were driven by Li Hu to the 4S store in the city center. Zhang Chen explained the specific situation to Han Xiying. The other party said that he would wait in Shanghai and sell at least 2 Rolls-Royces before going to Nanchang to find someone. Time passed in the blink of an eye. At noon the next day, Li Shang and 7 other people gathered together again. Zhang Chen became the center of everyone's attention, and he even took the lead. He was the first to stand up and express his opinion. I don't know how many times this is the first time we have had dinner together, but I won't drink today. Yi Xing and Wang Kongking, you 3 can drink if you want, but I won't accompany you. Li Shang's eyes lit up and he also stood up. Like Brother Zhang, I have a drink today. Zhao Muyan and Zhao Linger also said they don't drink, and they didn't take a break for several games in a row. Even if they like to drink, they can't stand it. Once you drink too much, you will be punished if you go back. Yi Xing said with a smile. Okay, I originally wanted to drink some wine to cheer up, but it's boring to be alone. Zhang Chen curled his lips. When they were drinking together, why were they so busy watching the show? He called the waiter in and started ordering. The hotel waiter recorded the dishes and was about to leave when he suddenly said, by the way, there is an event in our store today. Depending on the amount of consumption of these gentlemen, a bottle of red wine can be given as a gift. Do you need to bring it over? Zhao Muyan's expression changed and he kept shaking his head. Let's forget about this red wine. Can it be replaced by something else? Li Shang also said, yes, if it doesn't work, I will give it back to you, we don't want it. The waiter looked confused and explained in a low voice. In addition to red wine, you can give away a large bottle of Coke, but with ale. Before he finished speaking, Zhang Chen waved his hand and said, then change it to Coke. The waiter left with some confusion. The value of this red wine was obviously higher than that of Coke. It is difficult to understand the thoughts of rich people. Zhao Linger complained later, I don't have a good eye. Suddenly, she stood up and said, Brother Zhang, please go back quickly. I don't know when we will meet next time. Let's take a group photo together. Before Zhang Chen could agree, she took out her phone and looked at it eagerly. Okay. Even if it's like this, it won't work if Zhang Chen doesn't agree. Zhao Linger cheered, seemingly not noticing Zhao Muyan's dark expression, and excitedly joined Zhang Chen. After co-shooting, I immediately sent it to Moments, obviously to show it to someone. Wang Kongking and the others looked at it with a disgusting taste, and felt like they were being fed dog food. Seeing that Zhao Linger seemed to want to take pictures, Li Shang said, Brother Zhang, your roots are in Nanchang. When will you go to the Magic City to set up a branch or something? The Nanchang address is not as convenient as here. Moreover, life here is comfortable and you can go overseas and have fun. It will be easier to develop into an international company. Distracted by him, Zhang Chen's attention was diverted and he was no longer cooperating with Zhao Linger to take photos. He raised his hands and said, the demons and I have their own thoughts. Isn't it still developing? It depends on my mood. If you are in a good mood, you can just invest a few $100 million to get it done, but it will be troublesome to invest energy in the future. Once it's established, you can't leave it alone, you need to recruit people, which is due to his hedonism. Li Shang couldn't answer the question immediately. He said that it was hundreds of millions, and he hadn't inherited the family property yet. Others couldn't bear it either. Only Wang Kongking was better, but his face was also a little unnatural. Moreover, they also saw that Zhang Chen just said it casually and did not mean to deliberately attack them. Several $100 million seems very easy to Zhang Chen? Li Shang said resentfully. Forget it, Brother Zhang, let's talk about something else, such as when you will buy a private yacht, a private jet, etc. We will give you a reference. Old men like those in China basically have private jets, as well as routes and landing areas. Wang Kongking nodded. That's right. People who reach a certain value will buy it, such as my father. As they talked, the few people had already raised Zhang Chen's level to that of the previous generation and did not treat him as a younger generation. Because there are really few in the younger generation who can talk about hundreds of millions. Even for Wang Kongking, his father only gave him 500 million, not what he earned himself. Zhang Chen's eyes lit up slightly and he fell into deep thought. What they said makes sense. He is also a billionaire now. 100 billion is just a small goal and can be achieved soon. It seems normal to buy yachts and private jets, right? Zhang Chen asked. Why don't you meet the next day and have a dinner party today? Let's talk about what we should buy. As long as you buy the best, price is not a consideration. He grows up too fast and doesn't know much about some good things. This is a gap in his background. Private jets and yachts were just his fantasy before. Being able to fly on them was a luxury, but he could buy them directly in the blink of an eye. Li Shang, Wang Kongking and the other 6 people looked at each other in shock. What, Brother Zhang, are you really planning to buy it? We just changed the subject, don't take it seriously. Yes, the price of a good private yacht and aircraft is at least hundreds of millions, and the annual maintenance costs, travel maintenance costs, route maintenance costs, venue costs, etc. add up to at least 800 million. You still need to hire staff for yachts and planes. You may not be able to travel more than a few times a year. It costs a lot of money, just for enjoyment. Brother Zhang, if you become a platinum member, you can still consider it, but platinum membership is more difficult to maintain, because good money. Before he finished speaking, Zhang Chen waved his hand and interrupted. You don't have to worry about anything. The gold membership is just what I want to show at the moment. You can just give me suggestions. I want the kind that can be bought with money. If you can't buy it, forget it. The 6 of them gasped. After talking to this extent, they also believed that Zhang Chen's assets might have reached the platinum membership level, or even exceeded it, so they immediately stopped trying to persuade him. They all said that they know the best aircraft and yachts, which can be purchased through various channels. But surprisingly, 6 people knew a lot about private aviation, but less about private yachts. It may be because there are less contacts. After all, if you really want to go abroad across the sea, planes are faster and have more docking points. Unlike yachts, which can only dock at the beach. If you are playing on the sea, you can easily get sunburned if you are not careful. Everyone was eating and summarizing. In the end, 6 people selected 3 aircraft for Zhang Chen to choose from. The first model, Gulfstream G550, has 19 seats, a range of 12501 km, and a speed of 904 km/h. It is the most popular aircraft model in China. Wang Kongking's father, Jianlin Wang, Jack Ma, Ferry Li, etc., all chose this aircraft. The price 320 million. The second model, Bombardier Challenger 850, has 19 seats, a range of 5430 km, and a speed of 785 km/h. It is the same model as Uncle Zhao in northeast China. If you want to fly across the ocean, you need to refuel once in the middle. The price is low, only 200 million. The third model, Airbus A380, is a 525-seat super-large double-decker aircraft with a range of 14,800 km. It can be modified and has a swimming pool designed inside. It is also the most expensive one, priced at 3.13 billion. Of course, the third model was introduced by Zhao Muyan and Li Shang, and no one thought Zhang Chen would buy it. After all, Huasha coin alone requires 3.13 billion, and maintenance personnel and other various expenses are simply staggering. It would be a lot of pressure for a billionaire to raise it, and it would be about the same if it were worth hundreds of billions. They 317 mainly recommend the first 2 models. If they really buy a private jet, they will suppress all the second-generation rich people in Shanghai. If it's the third model, well, don't look at young people and compete with the older generation. If the older generation can't do it, go and have a drink with the older generation. Zhao Linger glanced at Li Shang and Wang Kongking dissatisfiedly, feeling that they revealed the third paragraph just to lose Zhang Chen's face. The gap between front and rear is so big. If you buy the first 2 models, it will give people the illusion that you can't afford the last one. What's so great about it? It's just a pretense. It will give others a good excuse to be upset. Brother Zhang, if you want to buy it, I suggest you buy the same model as Uncle Zhao's in the Northeast. Your company is in Nanchang, there are no overseas projects, and you don't move around frequently. You can travel by yourself and just fill up with gas in between. Don't listen to Li Shang and my brother, they are always full of bad ideas. Seeing Zhao Linger's angry look, Zhang Chen smiled and said, "It's okay, they also want to tell me the best. I asked you, Brother Zhao and Brother Li, please introduce me to the Airbus A380. Is it possible that there really is a swimming pool inside the aircraft?" Speaking of this, Zhang Chen himself became a little excited at first. When I think about other people flying, my ears buzz, blood rushes to my mind, my face turns red, and I feel uncomfortable the whole time. And he flew on a plane, swam in the swimming pool, listened to music and drank red wine. It was exciting just thinking about it. Zhao Muyan and Li Shang were stunned. They must have heard wrong just now. They were actually going to introduce the Airbus A380 in detail? Is it normal to introduce Bombardier Challenger in Gulfstream? Li Shang swallowed his saliva. Brother Zhang, what did you just say? Did I hallucinate? Please tell me again. Wang Kongqing and Yi Xing sat up straight with solemn faces, not even caring about eating. The atmosphere at the dinner table became heavy. Zhang Chen didn't realize it and said with certainty, "You heard me right, I just want to introduce the Airbus A380 to me. If you can satisfy me, I will take it when I travel abroad in the future. Don't ask me about money. Since I dare to ask, I have the strength to take it, and there is no problem in supporting it." Holy shit. Zhao Muyan couldn't help but cursed, "Pervert." Li Shang was dumbfounded. It's so irritating to see people compare to each other. Now I feel like I'm not a rich second generation, I'm a commoner struggling for life. Wang Kongqing turned his head silently. When could he afford that plane? Feng Jia and Yi Xing have long been autistic. Even if they inherit the family business, they would not dare to buy the Airbus A380. Because the money does not belong to them personally, they only occupy part of it. Zhang Chen looked at everyone's appearance and waved his hands in disgust. Okay, CCDE. Look at your potential, isn't it just a plane ride? To be honest, I'm interested in having a swimming pool inside. If it's real, I won't buy it if it's fake. Li Shang was completely convinced. Brother Zhang, I better ask you to tell lies. I can't bear the truth. Wang Kongqing sighed. Brother Zhang is really awesome. He doesn't show his real face. The Airbus A380 can indeed install a swimming pool, but it needs to be modified. The number of generals and officers it can carry is very small. Zhao Muyan nodded. Young Master Wang is right, but the number of people is small. There is still no problem within 100 people. Brother Zhang should be enough. If you buy it back, remember to let us experience the sky swimming pool. Tisk tisk. Everyone looked at each other and quickly picked up all kinds of information about the Airbus A380. We even discussed internal swimming pool modifications, airline purchase, airport construction, where to recruit flight attendants and pilots, annual maintenance costs, estimated total expenses, etc. After they all finished talking, the food was already cold, but no one cared. Zhao Linger also joined in and said, Brother Zhang, if you buy it back, you must call me on the first voyage after modification. It doesn't matter whether they invite my brother or not, don't forget me. Zhang Chen responded with a smile. Easy to say. After understanding it, he has made up his mind to buy an Airbus A380, not for any reason, just for enjoyment. While others are sitting upright on the plane, he can swim and play in the plane. Li Shang criticized bitterly. Sister Linger, you were wrong. If it weren't for me and your brother Zhang, would you have the intention to buy that plane? Brother Zhang, the flight is about to start. I want to be the first guest on your plane. No one can stop me. Yi Xing and Feng Jia followed the queue and said hello in advance. There are always benefits later. Even Wang Kongqing shamelessly participated. Zhang Chen waved his hand and all 6 people fell silent. He looked at Wang Kongqing, Zhao Muyan and Li Shang. Do you have purchasing channels? If so, use yours. If not, I'm thinking of a solution. Li Shang took out his mobile phone and rummaged for something. What did Brother Zhang say? We know each other so well. Why don't we have channels? Just wait for me and it will be over soon. Wang Kongqing and Zhao Muyan also took out their mobile phones, and within a few minutes, they each contacted different people. This is their background. If it were Zhang Chen, he would have to send people to contact them. In the process, he would need to show his strength and gain recognition from others. It would take at least a few months to follow the procedure like that. Zhao Muyan raised his head and said, Brother Zhang, the person I contacted has a second-hand Airbus A380 in his name, which is much cheaper. Wang Kongking showed the mobile phone over. I have a new model here, and the price is the same as what I introduced to you. Brother Zhang, this is a modified version with a swimming pool, but it costs 4 billion. How can I reply? 3 different answers, 3 different results. Wang Kongking and the other 6 were all guessing in their minds which result they would choose. After all, this was a billion-dollar transaction. Even if it is a second-hand Airbus A380, it is still expensive, nearly 2 billion. Needless to say, the one that has been refitted is very expensive. It is expensive because it is good. Zhang Chen thought for a while and asked, where is that modified Airbus A380 now? I want to take a look and then decide whether to buy it or not. If the modification didn't suit his wishes, he would have to dismantle it and remodify it, which would be very troublesome. It's better to buy that new model and have it fully modified in China. Spending more money can always produce a result that satisfies him. Li Sheng explained. Let me ask, it should be overseas. If you look at it, I will go with you. Having an acquaintance to guide you can save you a lot of trouble. Zhang Chen nodded and looked at Wang Kongking. Young Master Wang, please contact me. If I am not satisfied with the modified Airbus, I will buy it from you. But you have to find the best modification team in the world. If he modified it himself, he would bear all the risks. He didn't want the plane to leak in midair, and he was speechless just thinking about it. Wang Kongking gave a thumbs up. Brother Zhang is so generous, leave this matter to me. He then said with a smile, it's easy to find someone, but your wallet may be a little thinner, so don't feel bad when the time comes. Then I expected to deflate me. Zhang Chen also smiled. Okay, let's continue eating. Let the waiter bring in some hot food while you guys tell me about the yacht. Yi Xing smiled coquettishly. Well, we don't know much about yachts. When we have a gathering on the sea, ask the guys there, what kind of things do those people like to study the most? Wang Kongking, Zhao Muyan and others all shrugged. It's easy to mislead you if I just say it casually. If you want good products and recommend bad ones, you will buy them again. Zhang Chen didn't ask. Okay, let's continue eating. After finishing the food, all 7 of them lay down to rest. Li Shang's cell phone dinged, someone sent a message. He picked it up and looked at it, and immediately laughed. Brother Zhang, that modified Airbus A380 is on the other side of the ocean, and no one is buying it yet. You can go there and watch at any time. It's close to Wall Street in New York, Country M. Zhang Chen's eyes lit up. Okay, after I go back to the company and deal with those things, I will go there with you. Wang Kongking suddenly asked, Brother Zhang, what is the name of your company? If there is a chance, we can work together. The companies I currently control are all biased toward live streaming and the internet. Tiancheng Real Estate is more interested in real estate, but I will put more effort into the entertainment industry recently, Zhang Chen answered casually. Okay. Wang Kongking replied with some disappointment. Looking at Zhang Chen's tone and demeanor just now, he could already confirm some situations. The other party has the strength to buy the 3.3 billion Airbus A380 large passenger plane, and the excited tone cannot be concealed. He also wants to deepen the relationship, but it seems unlikely that this will happen, so he can only wait for the opportunity in the future. After eating at noon, the small gathering was over. Zhao Muyan went home early. Every extra minute he stayed was doubling the length of his grounding. After Zhao Linger was satisfied with the co-production, she said goodbye and left with a smile. She originally wanted to have fun for a while, but was told by Li Shang that they were going to discuss some men's matters. As for which aspect, Zhao Linger didn't know where to think of it, so she ran away. Yi Xing smiled and reminded, Li Shang, be careful she calls Zhao Dou over to fix you. Zhao Muyan, am I afraid of him? Li Shang curled his lips. He was away, so he couldn't lose face. Really? Then let me tell Brother Zhao, do you think it's okay if you challenge him? Wang Kongking said with a smile from behind. Zhang Chen also took the opportunity to take out his mobile phone and glanced at it intentionally or unintentionally. I think we can still discuss it. Li Shang's expression froze, and he explained in a somewhat sarcastic tone. Aren't we going to heaven and earth tonight? I'll go and prepare first. Down after saying that, he left quickly without mentioning what he had just said. The prank was successful, Everyone laughed, said goodbye to each other, and waited for night to come. Most men like entertainment venues because if they have money, they can enjoy some fun, bring a little excitement to ordinary life, and seek a sense of pleasure. And if you are very rich, as long as you are willing to spend it, you will enjoy the best pleasure in the world, and there will be a lot of people coming forward to serve you. Please give me flowers. The top entertainment venue in the Magic City, Heaven and Earth, was built based on this concept. In Heaven and Earth, the customer group that has been positioned for itself is only the rich, but the lowest level of consumption starts at 100,000 yuan per person. Ordinary people are discouraged, but people with a little bit of money, who have been there once, always think about going there several times. As for Li Shang and Wang Kongqing, they enjoy the best services and the most expensive consumption, and they only dare to come once a quarter. If they come a few times, their wallets will be the first to bear the burden, and they will have to maintain their expenses elsewhere. This is the news that Zhang Chen learned from Li Shang and others. As for the specific items contained in it, he did not mention a word. I just say that if you go in and experience it once, you will definitely come back next time. Time passed slowly, and neon lights began to shine on the streets of the Magic City, illuminating the dark night. At 10:30 in the evening, a place on the edge of the center of the Magic City. Zhang Chen, Li Shang, Wang Kongqing and others gathered together. Looking around, people who are familiar with cars will be surprised, because the cars parked nearby are all expensive and low-key. Of course, there are also some very high-profile cars, like Aston Martin, Volkswagen Phaeton, Bentley, Maserati, Rolls-Royce, Ferrari, etc. Li Shang sighed. It's still so lively every day, but what's the point of low-end ones? These guys don't pay attention to taste at all. As he spoke, he kept shaking his head and pointed at the car owner who parked here. Yi Xing persuaded. Say less. If you look down on me, don't say it. I don't want to be like last time and make enemies for no reason. If you keep doing this, come and play by yourself next time, and I won't advise you to fight with Zhao Muyan. Li Shang's expression suddenly changed. Hey, isn't this what I'm saying? Come on, Brother Zhang and Brother Yi, please go ahead. Why? I will pay attention to what you said, and I won't do it again. Zhang Chen spread his hands. This is my first time here, so you old customers should take me there. I don't even know the way. Let's play, maybe play a little bit. All 5 people laughed, and finally, Wang Kongqing and Yi Xing took the lead. Li Shang, on the other hand, speaks freely. He offended many people last time he came here, and this time he walked at the back.